Now, guys, today we are going to be building an Instagram clone with React. So we come to you with another banger. This is also going to have Firebase and user authentication and is going to be deployed online. And it has all the functionality, the bells and whistles of Instagram. Here is actually Instagram, right? And then here is our app that we're going to be building.
Looks clean, bro.
That is super clean. And for example, I can go here at the bottom and I can choose a file. And let's just say I pick, let's say this one. I can upload it and I can say, let's build a React to-do app. You can put my emojis or whatever it is that I want. Simply hit upload.
Oh, you have to click the file.
I chose it. Yep.
Oh yeah, nice.
And it's right here. So you guys can see that. Yo, our boy Aaron is here. What is up?
Yo, what's up, Aaron?
Yo, thanks for the support, bro. That means a lot. I appreciate it. So you guys can see we just uploaded that photo so quickly. And we're going to show you how to be able to upload things and comment. Oh, we didn't show them the comment functionality, right, Sonny?
Oh yeah, nice. Let me actually jump on and I'll comment something as well.
Yeah, go for it.
Right, so if I go over to the comment that Kazi just posted and say, "What's up, guys?" So 3, 2, 1, boom, real time, guys.
Yeah.
Look at that, nice.
Because yeah, it's essentially hosted online, and so then you just went and you posted a comment, and then I went and I posted a comment, and boom, it just worked in real time like that, right?
Yep. And guys, it's worth mentioning that we each logged into an account when
Yep.
we did that, which is why it says Clever Kazi and which is why it says my tag.
Yep. And so I can even click actually log out here, and it will log me out, and I can also click sign up, and then it allows me to sign up from there.
Exactly.
Yep. So pretty pumped about that. Let me actually just take a look at how many users we have live right now. Is the live stream going fine?
Yeah, it looks
all
like
fronts?
it's all happy. Yep.
Okay, let's see. Cool. All right, so this is what we're going to be building. I hope that you guys are excited to build this with us. And at this point, what do you say, Sonny? Should we kind of jump into it?
Let's do it, bro.
Okay, so where do we start? What do we do?
Okay, so first step is for anyone who hasn't coded with React before, it's one simple thing that we're going to do. So I need you to share the terminal right now, Kazi, before we get started.
So let's go right there. Command J, man. That shortcut is helping already.
Command J.
So I will go here, share terminals, read only, right click, make read and write. Boom, there you go.
So now I have access to your terminal. Awesome. So the first thing we're going to do is inside of the folder that we're coding in, we're just going to do npx, and then we're going to run something called create React app. So this is something that Facebook built, and it allows you to get my terminal's being weird. It allows you to get a startup app set up. So here we're going to say Instagram clone. Instagram clone. There we go. And let's just go with that. And we click enter. And that will get all of the files that we need set up, and it will give us like a React template to start with. And that will save you all the headache of all the boring steps to get everything up and running. So I'd always recommend, if you're coding in React, you use create React app, because it kind of gets rid of all the headaches that you get when you
And by the way, this app will also be responsive for all of you guys. So when you guys are done building it, like, look at that. Clean.
Awesome. It's clean. And we're also using Material UI here, guys. So for some of the things like the avatar, the buttons that you notice, that's a really nice design library from Google called Material UI. So we're going to show you guys how you can use that today.
Nice. I just logged in.
Nice. Awesome.
So clean.
Next step, Kazi, while that's getting set up, let's go ahead and set up Firebase.
Okay. Do it. Let's do it.
So while Kazi's doing that, Firebase is a set of tools. It's a suite of tools actually from Google, and it allows you to do a bunch of different things. So today we're actually going to use 3 of these different services, or maybe 4. I think that what we're doing is we're having the database on Firebase. So it's going to be our complete backend solution for that. I'm also going to have, so just to tell you what Kazi's doing is he's creating a new project, which is what you guys need to do if you're following this. And you just want to call it Instagram clone, and then you click continue. And it's going to ask you after this if you want to add Google Analytics. So it's up to you if you want to do that. And then that will actually spin up the environment, the backend environment for you. And this gets everything done for you guys. So you can have your database hosted here, authentication, so all the logging in and everything that you just saw then, that happens through Firebase. And we can also deploy the website, so it can be live on an actual link that everyone can access afterwards. And we also have Firebase storage, which is how you were able to see the picture that Kazi uploaded actually go online. And then we can actually store that into our database. So there's a bunch of things that we're going to cover today. So I hope you guys are excited. Nice.
Oh my God, 318 people live. That is amazing.
Nice. Awesome.
Thank you guys for jumping on your engagement. And guys, it means a lot to us. It's a huge deal. If you guys just give the video a like, it doesn't take anything from you, but it helps us a lot because we're trying to stream and trying to get it across to as many people as possible. And so it really helps the channel grow. And all you just have to do is just click and smash that like button. And we will love you for it. And that's what keeps us going.
Exactly. And if you guys are enjoying it, make sure you shoot some Instagram stories and tag me and Kazi in.
Oh, yeah, we did that, right? We posted. Oh, my God. People are freaking testing the app. That's so cool.
Oh, nice. We've got some live people coming in.
Yeah. And yeah, guys, where was that post where you said, so yeah, you guys can actually tag us. You guys can shoot an IG story right now. We actually had somebody tag us yesterday, and I reposted their story on my Instagram. But just make a quick video with your phone and then tag us at, for Sunny, it's this. And then for me, it's Clever Kazi. So tag us, that'd be awesome.
Nice. And that actually gives us a chance to speak to you guys, see who's actually watching the videos. It makes it all a bit more real for us.
Yeah.
Is nice.
Yeah. It makes us want to do it every single day. Like, even though we only got a message from like 1 or 2 people with the video, but like that one video just gave us all the juice to get going.
It really does. Like, it really boosts us to carry on doing this every day.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so the next step is if you just want to hit on Firebase, you see that button? Yep, exactly, that web button. And what we need to do here is just register the app. So we just call it Instagram clone, and we want to tick that little box called set up Firebase hosting. Yep. And the next step, we can actually ignore this because we use node modules when we set the app up, so we don't actually need to worry about this. We can click next. And this one, guys, if you are starting from fresh, you just need to paste this into your terminal and run it, and that will actually install all of the Firebase tools across your different projects. So it will get you the Firebase tools onto your terminal so that you can use it and you can do all the deployments. And
if I typed in and hit enter, Sunny, and I have it already installed, what would happen?
It would most likely just try to upgrade the modules.
Okay, so it's not going to hurt us doing it.
Yeah.
All right.
Should be good.
Next.
Okay. Next, we're going to just ignore this for now. We're just going to continue ahead to the console. Yeah. Awesome. So now we have our app registered. Everything's good. The reason why I did that, Kazi, by the way, is because you didn't do sudo.
Oh, yeah.
So if you guys get that error, you most likely, if you're on a Mac especially, you just need to run sudo npm install, and then what it will do is it will just prompt your password. You just enter your password, and then it will have the right permissions, so you don't run into that issue.
Yeah.
Nice.
And thanks for giving the video a like, by the way, guys. Appreciate that.
Oh, dope. Everyone's giving it a like. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to jump back over to our code.
Yep, here we go.
Yep. So if we just open up our folders, what we're going to do is we're going to actually spin up the app. So we currently have, so you see when we done create React app in the terminal, I just did ls and it says that there is Instagram clone. So what we need to do is do a cd into Instagram clone. So cd inside of Instagram clone. And now we're inside of Instagram clone.
So here's where you CD'd, right there.
Yep, exactly. Dude, that thing's wicked.
It's just so overkill. Like, this is where you CD'd.
And now what we're going to do is we're just going to do npm start, and that's how you pretty much get the app fired up.
Right there. It's npm start.
Yeah. Now what we're going to do is, so I think Kazi actually started doing this already. So on the host is shared. Nice, thank you. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is you just want to set up your directory. So this is the starter template you're going to get when you start up an app. What we want to do is kind of clear it out. So we kind of just start with.
Should we stop the end grok or keep it going?
Yeah, we can stop that for now. Yeah,
okay.
Let's do that. Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
So what we can do now is if we go to the folders.
Yep.
And let's get rid of. Let's get rid of.
What do you want to do?
A bunch of the starter files. So we're gonna get rid of all the test files.
Yep, right here. So
Yep.
hit delete, gone.
Oh, we have a lot of fun when we do this, guys. And then we want to get rid of app.test.js.
Yeah, cool. All right, so we're gonna go here and remove all the code inside of the header because we don't need that.
Yep. And the import statement at the top for the logo, and there we go. So that's just going to give you a fresh start, right? And what we tend to want to do is, like, whenever you sort of start up an app, you don't really want any of the styling that they already had inside of there. You kind of want to have a fresh, clean slate that you can work from. So let's go ahead and save that. And if we go over to app.test, we can get rid of that file too. So I'm going to just quickly delete that one as well. So
Sunny, here's a comment for you.
What's that? Sunny giggling like a girl. My girlfriend's always throwing shade. Right. It's fine. When she codes, then we can have that battle. So now we've got a nice starting point. So what we want to do now is if we go to app.css. So this is the sort of final bit of cleanup that I like to do. So we just want to
let me also follow you.
Oh yeah, nice.
Go for it.
So now we want to get rid of everything, and I like to add this one rule here, which basically says, because what happens, guys, is whenever you have like a blank website that's created with React, or even when you're doing default like web dev, everything gets like this default margin of 10 pixels, and it's really annoying, and everything kind of doesn't abide by what you want. So you want to kind of get rid of that. So before we added that line, there was this default little margin. So if I save it now, you see that margin at the top? It kind of gets that out of nowhere. So you want to get rid of that. So you basically add this rule, and then that will sort of give you a fresh start. So what we're going to do now is, I'm just going to delete that file. Okay, so now we're inside of our app. So the first step, I guess, where I like to start off is pretty much, let's just kind of get a rough idea of how the app looks, right?
Yeah.
So we saw how we styled it before. What we basically want is to have a bunch of posts. So I like to use comments when we sort of draft this out. So we want a bunch of posts. So we're going to have a bunch of posts. So in this case, we're going to have posts, and then we're going to have the header. So we're gonna have some kind of header, and the header is basically that top bar on Instagram.
The header is gonna be like right around here, right at the top.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when you go onto Instagram and you see that little logo on the left and you see the login buttons on the right, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. So what we're gonna do is
like the header like this is the header.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And even, have you noticed how on our app, when you scroll down, it actually sticks? So we're going to show you how to do that as well, which is a neat little feature. So not on the actual...
Yeah, because here, when I'm scrolling down, the header seems to be stuck.
Yeah, so we're going to also show you how to replicate that, which is quite neat. And a lot of people don't know that. I didn't actually know that until fairly recent. So I think everyone will find that really useful. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to start off with the header. To keep things simple, we are going to add a div. So a div is just a simple container. And here I'm going to just pretty much call it app. So this is Emmet that I'm doing here. So I'm going to say app header.
Nice.
Oops, that didn't work as well as I thought. And we can get rid of this. Yep. So if you guys are wondering what this is, it's just something called BEM. I'd recommend go checking it out. It's a really nice way of naming your CSS classes. And it's a way that it helps you stay consistent as you code bigger and bigger projects. So throughout the app, you're going to see me using this convention, and that's called BEM, so BEM.
Yeah.
Nice. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to add a image. So I've got an image over here, and this image right now, we're going to give it a class of app header image, and it's got a source, and this is just the Instagram logo, by the way, guys. It's nothing special, nothing fancy, it's just the Instagram logo. So if we save this now, we should be able to see on our website.
That thing
Yeah.
right there.
So you should see that. Yeah. So we've got a nice little Instagram logo. Neat. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is, you see, I gave it a little bit of a class right now. So the app header image, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go over to our app.css, and I'm going to add this special line of code here. And this is basically saying, regardless of how big that container gets, keep the aspect ratio of the Instagram, because we never really want to stretch that logo, right?
Yeah.
So we always want to keep that. So this little line of code here just keeps the aspect ratio. So it's always going to stay in the, it's always going to look like it's perfect. It's not going to look like it's stretched. It's not going to look like it's broken.
Nice.
And now what we're going to do is, we have, yeah, the header. So that's perfect at the moment. So we're just going to keep it very simple for now. So we can just get rid of that one. And we can actually get rid of this. Let's actually pop this one underneath here for now. So we have it like that. Nice. And let's save it. And we should be able to see, there we go. Right. Now we need to style the app header, because right now it doesn't look the best. And if you notice on Instagram, it's very subtle, but they actually have a background color. It's like a very subtle gray, right? So what we want is, we want the app. So the app is going to have that subtle gray background. So you can demonstrate that by just opening up the Instagram website, Kazi, and you can just show them. So you see at the back, there's like a tiny gray, right?
Yep. Right there. It's not exactly white, because this over here is white, and this over here is like gray.
So it's a very, very subtle change. So we're going to add that. So I've just grabbed the color from Instagram, and I used a little nice Chrome extension, which allows, it's like a little pipette, and it allows you to just grab all of the colors from websites, which is nice.
What is it called?
So the one that I use is called, I'm not actually sure, it's called Colorzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Colorzilla, that's the one. That's really cool, that one. And basically what that does is, it gives you a little pipette, and you can pretty much just touch anywhere on the screen, and it copies the hex code. So it copies this little code right here, and that's what you can use when you need to actually add that to your website, which is really perfect. Nice. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, we are going to go over to, why can't I see the local host anymore? Give me 1 sec. Let me just open up localhost. Okay, now what we're going to do is, we are going to add the background color for the header image. So this one is going to be a white. So we're just going to use very simple colors here. We're literally going to use the word white, because that gives you a nice, clear, crystal clear white. And now you can see it's very subtle. It's actually very, very, very subtle in the background.
Yeah, it's right there. I can see it. And then this is white.
Yeah, so that's white. So the actual app body itself is going to be white. But everything, so that header, it's very hard to tell at this point, but it is.
Isn't theirs the opposite? Their header is white, and their app body is actually gray.
Yeah, so in our case, it looks like that right now, but it is. Oh, sorry, I've done it wrong. That's it. Now it should be correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's just because you see where it says "Hello, clever programmers, let's build an Instagram clone with React." Right now, it's considering that to be the container. So what we can actually do to get around that is, we can say height is equal to 100%.
Right.
And that should actually get rid of that issue, or 100 view height, I think. But we can, you'll see that won't be an issue later on. There you go. There you go. See that? Great stuff. Nice. And what we can do now is, we can do.
Getting comfortable here.
Yeah. We're gonna add some padding to this now, so we've got the Instagram logo.
Nice, nice.
Yep. And you can see it's already starting to look pretty clean.
Take away the padding. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, so if we take that out, you'll see it just drops to.
Ugh, it's like so close to the top right there.
Yeah, so most of the time, guys, it's usually padding or margins that you want to do. And if you guys don't know the difference, padding is going to add the padding inside. And margin is going to add it outside.
Because I see the white borders got bigger, so that means it was from the inside.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's padding the elements inside.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So now what we're going to do is, there's one last finishing touch here, which is we just add a border bottom. And we're going to give it 1 pixel, which means it's a very thin border. It's a solid line, and we're going to say it's light gray. So light gray. Yep, there we go, light gray. And now if we save it, you'll see it's got that little nice little clean line, right? So we're already starting to get somewhat of a fill for like somewhat of an Instagram fill here. Nice. Okay, so let me just double check some stuff. Okay, so the next step is let's actually get those posts written up. So if we go to app.js and we go down to line 17, we can see now. So here is where we want to kind of have the posts, like the posts which look really nice, the posts which we can see rendered out on the screen. So what I'm going to do here is rather than write a simple post or rather than write a div, I'm actually going to create a component. So we're going to go ahead into the folders, as in where the files are, and we're going to create a. So I'm going to create one right now. Actually, you can create it on your screen because then they can see. We'll create one, and we're going to call this post.js.
Okay, so this is a component that's going to design how the post looks. So like, for example, here, this is a post. And so we're going to design this thing right now, right?
Exactly that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. So then what we're going to do is we're going to use this really nice extension, and it's called ES7 snippets. It's a really, really handy extension that you can do. And what it does is, guys, if I type in RFCE, it pops up. So that's exactly the one. So you guys want to just go ahead and install that. What we can do then is if I type in RFCE and I press enter, boom, we just get everything filled out for us, which is really, really nice.
Beautiful.
Now what we want to do is we go over to the post, and we're pretty much just going to add a bunch of. So if we look over at Instagram, at their posts that they have at the moment, let's sort of get a rough inspiration. So at the top, they have a header on in every post, which has an avatar, and then it has the username, right?
Yep.
So let's go ahead and just sort of add that in. So let's just say we've got a comment here saying there's an avatar. So they've got a header, and inside that header, they have an avatar and a username.
Yep, I see. So like the header is this of the post right here, right?
Exactly. And then they have the image.
So when you say avatar, that's this guy. And then, yeah, right here.
Exactly. And we're not going to bore you too much about the location for now. We're just going to have the image. And then underneath it, we aren't going to write the like functionality. We're just going to have pretty much the username and then the caption. So underneath the image, we're going to have username and caption. So if you scroll down, you'll see, you know, it says coding Rob, stay balanced.
Right there is the username, and then right there, whoops, right there is the caption.
Exactly.
And yeah, of course, it's a big caption.
Yeah. So in that case, it's a big caption. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to sort of get a little test going. So I'm just going to say, let's just do, here we'll say a H3 tag, and we can just say username just to sort of dummy it out. And then we go back to our app.js. I think you need to refollow me, Qazi.
Is it not following you? There we go.
Yeah, there we go. And now if we basically, to get that component in, all we have to do is write post here. We do that, and then I think if you go over to the end of the word and you press Control Spacebar, oh no, it's not doing our little trick. So we might have to import it. So we say import post from, and then the file is post. There we go.
Importing the component from here, right?
Exactly. So now we're importing the component, and you can see it's actually popped up on the screen now. So we have that. The next step is naturally to get some kind of image so that we can sort of render it out. So let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and find a image. So let's do. Let's just find an image. Let's say React image. So let me just find a quick image to grab. So let's do this one. This one's pretty cool. So we can say this, and we can say copy image address. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a so remember guys, at the top would be where you have the avatar and the image, the username, and then here we're going to have image. So it's going to be image, and the source right now I'm just popping in. This is just a picture of a React logo pretty much. So it's just a massive React logo, and there we have it there. So what we're going to do next is we will style everything so that it looks good and it looks clean afterwards. And then what we're going to do afterwards is we've got the final bit, which is the username and caption. So here we're going to have a H4, and it's just going to say something like, it'll say the username, and then it'll say something like this, and it'll just say the caption. So I like to just mark it out like this, so you kind of have a rough idea of what your component looks like. And then what we do is we style this one component, and then we just reuse it, right?
Yeah.
And I'll show you how we do all of that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to style. So firstly, the image is way too big.
Yep.
Right? We don't want it this big. We don't. It doesn't look good. It's not going to scale very well. So the first thing we need to do now is we actually need to go ahead and add a class to this. So we're going to say class, and this one is just going to be called post
Yep.
image. Yeah. And while we're here, let's go ahead and add a class to the container. So whenever you do classes going by the BEM sort of naming convention, your component is the first word, and then you have an underscore, and then you have the element that you're talking about. So in this case, we're in the post component image element, right?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to, we need to actually create a post.css. So if you just want to create that, and I will import it while we're doing that. So we say import /post.css.
Yep.
There we go.
So you imported it right there. Cool.
Yeah, I think it stopped following me again. Yeah.
Yeah, it stops following you every time I do that.
Yeah. So now we have the post image. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and add a class. And here I'm going to say the width. I want the width to always be just 100%. So I don't ever want it to go past.
Because we're styling this image right now, right? Which is fucking, it's like really huge right now.
Yeah, we don't really want it to ever go to that length. We just want it to be 100% of the screen.
Yeah.
So here we say 100%, and then we say object fit contain. And
Yeah.
that's the same rule that I used before. So it's saying just keep the aspect ratio. So there you go. Right?
Nice.
And now if you just resize the screen, you're going to notice that it's going to be responsive always to 100% of what the screen
Oh, I love that. Object fit contain. Like the image is always going to look super nice.
That's really clean, right?
Oh, that's
a
clean.
Really, really handy trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That
that's
is
something
awesome.
which a lot of people don't know about, but that's a really, really crucial thing when you're dealing with
Damn.
pictures.
That's awesome. Yeah, because images always end up looking really funny, you know? And I'm like, man, why does it not just look nice?
Exactly. And then they start looking weird and it just kind of throws you off.
So I see
So-
now we got the username and now we got the image and we're username and then the caption, which is pretty much like this component that we were trying to model after, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
now let's go ahead and give it some actual things. So let's just say this was Clever Kazi.
Yep.
So your Instagram handle. And then the caption was, wow, day 3 of live. That's right.
Yep.
And now what we're going to do is I just want to make the username bold. So I don't actually need to do any fancy styling. I could just do something like this.
They
And I
still
can
use
just
the
pop-
B? I thought you have to do strong, right? Or no?
Oh, yeah, you might actually. Because I don't actually use this one too much.
They
I think that you're right.
deprecated it or something.
Yeah. So we've moved it over to strong now. You're right. Yeah. So that will now have it so that it goes to. So it says. I think that's made it all bold, right?
No,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What we'll do here then is I'll show you another approach. So this is.
I mean, I think it's actually all H4, so I don't think it did
Yeah.
anything.
So what we can do here to fix this is we can just say this is going to be the post, and we can say post text, for example, for now. So this is relating to the post text. So what we can do now is we can say that all of the post text is going to be, let's give the post text to be, so let's go here and let's say post text.
Because, yeah, I think the text should be regular. It shouldn't be bolded. It should just be regular, and only the username should be bolded.
Exactly. So we'll give this a font weight of normal, and
Yeah.
you'll see that will drop it down, right?
Yeah.
And what we can do then is I think strong should work then because it's going to then
Just put clever, Kazi, and strong. Yep, that should
Yep.
be
and now we see
Nice.
that there we go. Nice, right?
nice.
So then you have this sort of Instagram fill coming through now. And the next step, what we're going to do is let's just go ahead and get rid of this mark. So here we said we wanted an avatar, right?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go ahead and look over at Material UI. So if you just open up Material UI, and to install Material UI, it's very simple. We just have to inside the terminal on the first page of Material UI, they have an npm install. So you just want to copy that and install that. Yeah. And that will actually pull in the entire Material UI design library, and then we can just start using it as we wish. So right now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and import something called, so this is the import statement for it. So it's import avatar, And if you ever need to find this stuff, guys, it's all inside of the Material UI docs. So if you go into the search bar and type in avatar, it's going to come up and it's going to show you how to use an avatar. So let's go ahead and use it. So where we're going to put it is pretty much inside. So right now we have a H3, right? We're going to basically have the avatar next to it. So we're going to have this like this. So we're going to have the avatar, and here the alternative. So this is what you can do. You can actually give it an image. So it's going to actually have a little image inside of there. But for now, we don't really want to be bothering with the images too much. So right now, this is actually going to, this isn't going to sort of go equate to anything. So it's just going to go to the alt, right? And the alt, what it does is, let's say if this was Rafe Kazi.
Yeah.
So it's just Rafe Kazi. It's just going to basically put an R to symbolize that it's, oops. Yeah, it's going to put an R there, right?
Yeah.
So now what we can do is, if we save that, we should be able to see, did it install? Oh yeah, we need to do npm start again. Yeah, to get the app up and running. Yeah. And now what we can do is, we need to just wrap this. So I kind of want these two next to each other, so I'm going to put them inside a container. So I'm going to say div, and I'm going to say post header.
Clean.
Yeah, so
Also,
header.
it pulls it from the alt, huh?
Yeah, it pulls it from the alt, which is really nice, because when we log in, what we can do then is we can use your display name, and we can say if there is no picture set for that user, then just use the first letter as their name, which is pretty clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, Drew got it right. I am actually using a MacBook that's 16 inches.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how this guy figured that out.
I didn't realize you bought it. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Dope. Okay,
What's up,
so we have post avatar, post header. So right now what we're going to do is, if we save this, you should be able to see it will change the look of that. So let's go ahead and have a look. So why is mine not yeah, okay, so now
Hi,
you can see
Isabella.
that it's like
Keep going.
nice. We have the avatar, but it's on top of the username, which isn't really what we want. So what we're going to do now is, we added this class name to the container which surrounds these two elements, and we're going to go to our CSS, and we're just going to do display flex. And what flex is going to do is, by default, it throws it into a row. So now you'll see everything's gone into a row, right? But the text is out of line, so we want everything to be centered. So to center everything, we do align items center, and that will pull the text into the middle.
Oh, nice. Remove the display flex again, just so we can visualize what is it doing. Yep. So this is what it looks like right now. Now enable it real quick.
So if I bring that back
and then save, boom. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and that's another reason why you should be using React, guys, because you get this awesome feature called hot reloading. So as soon as you save your file, you just there's not even a refresh. It just sort of quickly adjusts it. Sometimes, especially when you're doing CSS, it's really fast.
Yeah.
So now what we're going to do is, where we have the username. So there's two ways of actually grabbing that. But instead what we're going to do is, we're going to say post avatar. You see right now it's touching the text, right? Which doesn't look the best. So we're going to say post avatar, and I want to do a margin right. So I just want to add some little bit of spacing to that. So I'm going to say margin right, and then you'll see if we save it, it just pops it a little bit to the side, right?
Yep.
But
right
again,
here. Oh, so this username now has a little margin. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's still touching the side, which ideally we kind of want it to be a bit more cleaner than that.
That avatar, right?
Yeah, like right now there's no, it shouldn't be like touching the edge of the screen and stuff like that. So what we're
Because
gonna do
here it's not touching the edge of the screen, it has space.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is, the entire post container, or no, the entire header container, so the thing surrounding the avatar and username, we're gonna go ahead and give that some padding. So I think it's post header. So I'm gonna say padding, and we're gonna give that, let's just see what 20 pixels looks like. So if we go and save that, let's have a look, and you can see it already actually looks much nicer with that.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So that looks pretty clean. And we want to do the same thing for the bottom. So where it says Clever Kazi, wow, date.
When you just do 20x, it adds padding in every direction, right?
Yeah. So that's a really good point, actually. So if I was to do 20x 10 pixels, notice how it's going to do 20 on the vertical, but 10 on the horizontal. Yeah. And you can pretty much do that. You can go to the point of doing this, and I think it goes top left, whatever it does. It goes left, top, right, bottom. So there's a lot of shorthands that you can do for this. But for now, we just want 20 all around it. So we're just going to do 20. And the next step is we want to do the same thing for the caption. So where we gave it a class name of post text. I'm going to go here and we're going to say, let's give it a padding. So padding of 20 pixels. So boom. And if we save it, look at that. So that's already looking clean.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's already looking really nice. It's looking clean. And it's already starting to feel a bit more like the app that we kind of want. So there's another thing right now. So if you, obviously, when it gets a bit big, so if this screen was to get really large, we don't want that image to just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? We want to kind of say you need a max.
Because right now it keeps going forever.
Yeah, and that doesn't really look good on screens, and it starts to become a bad user experience. So here we gave the outside container class name of post. So what we do here is we go to line 1 and we say post, and what we're going to do is we're just going to say give it a max width of 500. Let's just give it a little test of 500 pixels and see how that does. So now you can see it maxes out. So if you was to get smaller, it would start resizing.
Perfect.
Right?
That's awesome.
You
That's
see that?
great.
And if you was to get smaller than that, it would actually start to resize. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Nice.
Dope.
I think in that case, yeah. Nice. and what we're going to do now is we are going to actually something to remember is we have that very subtle gray right behind it.
Yeah.
But the actual background color of a post should be white. So we should say background color white.
This is actually a good question from Cristobal. He says, what is the difference between class and class name? And the difference really is that it's because we're using JSX. And so with React, you're going to use class name. And if you were just using regular HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then you would use class.
Yeah, just to add to that as well, in React, class is actually reserved for class components. So that's why it's a way to not get confused between your classes and your actual class components. So that's something to bear in mind, which is why they're moving towards. So, I mean, some people may be wondering, like, I've heard of class-based components, I've heard of functional components. You do need to know both, guys. I would recommend you learn both. But right now, just to keep it short and sweet, we're using something called functional components, which is why you don't see any sort of class or anything like that. But yeah, just a rule of thumb, when you're doing your sort of styling, give everything, instead of a class, give it a class name. That's all you need to remember. Nice.
Dope. Okay.
Okay, so now the next step is we kind of need the borders, right? We need everything to have its correct borders. So what we're going to do now is, firstly, the entire post should have a border. So we're going to go here and we're going to say it should have a border. And that's going to be 1 pixel solid light gray. And it would automatically now get that.
Ooh, nice.
So you see it's starting to really form quite quickly, right?
Yeah, very quickly. It's looking really nice. Yeah, the border is now all around the photo.
Nice. And what we're going to do next is we're actually going to give the image a top and bottom border. So we're going to say border top is 1 pixel solid light gray.
Yeah.
Oops, light gray. Yep. And we're going to copy that line and we're just going to say border bottom is that. And the reason why I did that is because I don't want the sides to become double borders, if that makes sense. Because currently they already have a border around the side. You see outside the entire post. So if I was to add another light gray border around the image, you're going to get double borders and it won't look that nice.
I see. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we did that. And then now what we want to do is, I think that's actually pretty cool. So what we're going to do now is actually test this a little bit more. So where we had in app.js, we had the posts. What we're going to do now is, if you just press Command J, Kazi, on the coding thing.
Yep.
There we go.
Coding thing, screen. Visual Studio Code.
Visual Studio Code, that's it.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to just paste it a couple of times, and we should now see. So.
Ooh, look at that.
Nice, right?
That is clean.
So now what we want to do is we want to sort out the spacing, right? So if you notice on Instagram, they have this nice little spacing gaps between each one. So what we're going to do to sort of do that is we're going to go ahead and add to the post, so the actual container itself, we're going to add a margin bottom of 45 pixels. And what this is going to do, as soon as I click save, notice on the right, it just added that little bit of space underneath it. So we're saying give that component 45 pixels worth of space underneath it, right? And then you get
Yep.
that nice little gap underneath everything. So now we're actually looking pretty good. Like
Hold
we
on.
actually have
Let's
some
comment
pretty
that
nice.
out real quick. Ah, okay, okay. This gap. Whoops. What the hell? This gap right here, right? Once that
Yeah,
gets enabled.
exactly. Exactly.
Nice. Okay.
And what I'm going to do now is because we previously did something which might break, so we're going to go to app.css. Just going to get rid of this line of code because now our container is growing, so we don't need that anymore. Okay, so what we're doing now is we have the 3 posts, right? But
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, it looks good, but in actual reality now, we don't want these 3 posts to be the same every time, right? We want them to be customizable. So now what we need to do is we just need to pass through. So the way we differentiate one component from another in React is we use something called props. So props are basically like, imagine just like a normal HTML element, but in this case we have a bunch of things. So we have like the image URL, so whatever the image URL is. So in this case, let's go ahead and give that the image URL that we had.
Mirban is
Well,
like everyone is discussing where Kazi is from. Like it's so annoying. I'm just looking at the chat. Like it started with Isabella. She just won't stop asking where I'm from, and then like everybody just starts talking about it, and then like Mirban is like,
everyone's
everybody.
discussing what
It's
Kazi
like
is
I'm dying.
from Pakistan, but went to States.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just leave it a mystery for everybody. Got to be a little
Yeah.
mysterious. Who knows?
Here we are coding React, and everyone's like, "Yo, where did Kazi come from?"
Yeah, I'm from Mars.
Nice. So we're gonna go ahead and add the image URL here, so it gets passed through as a prop, right?
Yeah.
So let's do that, and then what other things do we need to customize? We need to customize the username. So we'll go ahead and pass in a username. So let's say this one is username, and let's just say like, in this case, it'll be clever Kazi.
Uh huh.
And another thing that we need to customize is the caption, right?
Yeah.
So the caption we could just say here is like, wow, it works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody asked a good question. Fayad says, why would we want to use React? Can we not just use CSS and HTML to create this Instagram clone? What is React's purpose?
Right. So, I mean, Kazi, you're new to, well, you're more newer to React than I am. So what have you found? Like, what are the benefits for you since you've been using React?
Well, few things that are really amazing to me is like making my app in a component based way where everything is a
Yeah.
component, and so everything is like extremely fast. Like the fact that this is its own component separate from like this thing at the top means
Yeah.
that this thing can take its own time and load on its own time, and this can load on its own time. Another one is like if I'm about to make a new comment to this app, it's not going to refresh the entire app. It's just going to refresh that one new comment I add. This is why Instagram is so fast. If I make a comment on this guy's post, same thing is going to happen. And this is why Instagram is using React. So for me, it's really the speed and also how easily and quickly I can put most things together. But I mean, yes, Sunny, give us your insight too.
That's literally perfect, honestly, because like that's honestly the benefits that I see of it. And the reason why it's called React, guys, is because it's literally only reacting to the changes it needs to react to.
Oh,
Uh,
damn.
yeah. So that's
I did
literally
not
why
know that.
Yeah, because it's only going to react to the bits that it needs to, which is why it's super efficient and really fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like to be honest, I didn't know that for a very long time, and then it kind of
Wow.
clicked one day. I was like, oh, it's called React, React, right?
That is
So it's,
brilliant.
yeah, and honestly, when you get into big code bases, guys, it really makes a difference when you can actually see just the code that you need to see. So rather than seeing hundreds of lines of code, you're just coding on, like, for example, if we look at the post, you can see we just only have like 20 lines of code inside of the post
Yeah.
that we need to deal with. So it actually makes everything really easy and manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a really good question. Nice.
Yeah. Thanks for the question.
So let's go back to, so here we're passing through a bunch of attributes. We've got username, caption, image URL. And what we're going to do now is to pass those through here, it comes through as a parameter here. So it says props. But what we can do is we can do something even better here. We can destructure. So this is ES6 syntax. And we can actually just pass through the exact names that we passed in. So here we passed in username, caption, and image URL. So if we just pass those in here, so we say username, caption, and image URL. And then what we can do is it's basically opening up the object, so the props that we passed in. And here we can just do this. And guys, what I'm doing here is, as Kazi mentioned before, this is JSX. So if you add these squiggly brackets, you can actually add JavaScript here. And then it sort of loads your JavaScript dynamically into your HTML, which is really powerful. So down here,
another benefit of using React, right? Because you can't just do this in regular HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right?
Exactly. You have to do that whole document.getElementById, and that doesn't really refresh. This is another massive reason as to why we use it. Yeah.
So nice. So nice.
And then what we're going to do here is we're actually going to delete that, and we're going to add the caption here. So it's pretty much that simple. So we've just passed in the props, and now you'll see the first component should load, and the second and third would be empty. So, we need to save the first file. That's why. Yep. So now you'll see the first file has loaded. And you
nice. My comment is coming through. Wow, it works.
There's a little comma at the top, so I got rid of that, and it should fix that issue. Yeah, there we go. Nice. It works. And you see the second and third one, it elegantly, if it doesn't get the props, it doesn't just crash and freak out. It just leaves it undefined, which is a nicer way of handling it than just sort of going crazy and breaking. So now if we were just to sort of replace these two, so we're not going to replace the images just yet. We're going to just say this one's going to be me, and this one could be like there we go. And here we could say dope. And this one we could say this is a fun project. There we go. And if we save that and we refresh, now you can see it's come up with so you can see now we've differentiated each of them. So you can see like you got Clever Kazi, you got SSS Sanger, and everything sort of looks and feels as it should. So now what we can do is, and just to make that very visual, very quickly, what I'll do is I'll actually just, so let me just copy this image address, and I'll add a different image here so you can see very clearly that actually did change. So now if it refreshes, you can see the first one is, oh wait, did I do it right?
What?
Oh, I need I need to change that to an actual picture. So let's just say dog picture. Give me 1 sec.
Yep.
Just grabbing a picture off Google.
Yeah, and Programming Planet says it might sound weird, but it's the first video I'm seeing of Sunny. Is there any personal channel of him? And I think Sunny has a personal channel.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, it's literally just my name, guys. It's just Sunny Sanga. So I will pop that in the
here,
comments
right, like that.
Yeah, just like that. Nice.
So you guys
I
can
need
go
to
follow
upload a bit more, but right now me and Kazi are pretty much just doing these live streams.
Yeah, we're about to leave a legacy. That's the goal. All right,
literally we've 3 days now. Awesome. So I just added that now, so it should come through. So it should be a picture of a dog that comes through. So if we refresh and save it, I don't know why is that. Oh, okay, of course, because you see in post.js I didn't actually pass it through as the prop. I had it as this hard-coded value. So now I'm going to change that to be the one that we pass in. So image URL, and that is a really clear way of seeing how it all works. So now you can see that, oh, that image isn't loading. Okay, let me find another one.
Yeah.
Let's just do this one.
The image is hiding from you.
I know, right? So let's grab, I didn't add the prop name right, like image URL.
Yeah.
So be careful with that, guys. Yeah. So we save that, and there we go.
There.
Now we've got the dog. There we go. Perfect. So there we have our pretty much everything set up, and it's working as we want. What we want to do next, I guess, is rather than hard coding these posts, we kind of want these to come from somewhere. So I'm going to give a quick demonstration of something called state. And state is basically like a short-term memory store in React. So let's go ahead and set up a piece of state. So here we have, let's just call it posts. So it's going to resemble an array of the posts inside of our app. So posts, and then in order to actually set that, you have to do set posts. So this is the standard of how you write a piece of state. So how you set up a piece of state, and we're going to use the
and just for simplicity, guys, a piece of state really is just like how you set variables in React. That's a simple way to think about it. If you're brand new to React, this variable post here, it's just pretty much a variable, and yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a really good thing you mentioned there. So it literally, rather than doing this, guys, so rather than doing const post, equals a blank array, just think of it as you set your variables up like this, right? And you never ever do this in React. You never ever say like posts.append something like and then you add a string to it, and then because you're directly manipulating it right here. Instead, what you do is you say set posts, and then you pass in whatever value you want here, right? So that's how you do it inside of React, but you don't do this direct manipulation where you have to follow the React rules, which are these, right? And this is an example of a hook, guys. So a hook is just like a short little small piece of code. We can write our own hooks, and they're really powerful and functional, and they just pretty much allow us to use really cool things such as state and there's a few more that we'll show throughout this demo. So
Shreya says, I just got here. When I run the npx create React app command on the terminal, it shows the term npx is not recognized as the name of the blah blah blah. So basically the problem here is you don't have the package npx installed, so you will have to go and install npx, and then you guys can do npx create React app. So just look up how to install, like literally copy that line of code, Shreya, npx create app, Google it, and then it will tell you like what the problem is.
Exactly. Yeah, you're gonna have to set up npx before or install it to your computer before you can use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where we have our state, we have to give it an initial value so that when the app loads, it's gonna have a value inside of it. So here, I'm gonna basically give it two objects, and those two objects, if you haven't guessed it, they're gonna be the objects that we had here. So the posts props. So the first one, we're gonna give it this. So we're gonna say, I just need to separate this now. So we say Clever Kazi, and then the second bit is going to be the caption. So this is an object, so the syntax is slightly different. So we do it like this, and then the final one is going to be an image URL, just like that, right? And for time simplicity, I'm going to just copy this same one, so we're going to have two of the same things rendering. So there we go. And I'm basically just going to, yeah, so that's perfect. So now what we've got is we've got an array of two objects, right? And this is what we
so each post here basically has these three pieces of information.
Exactly.
And what that means is like, so username is going to be whatever your username is. Caption is going to be where it says dope here, or where it says wow it works. And then image URL is obviously what is being rendered right here. So each post has three pieces of information, and this over here is the first post, and then this over here is the second post.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And what we want to do now is this actually makes things simple now, because even if we were to have like 1,000 things here, all we need to do now is actually write one elegant piece of code here. So we put our little JSX brackets, and we basically do this. So do you just want to scroll down a little bit, Kazi, on the left? So here we can just say posts.map. So map is an ESX function, and basically what it's doing now is it's going to every single post. So it's going to go through that list that Kazi showed before, so this list up here, and it's basically just going to say, so the first time it runs through it, this is going to be post, the post variable, and the second time it runs through it, this is going to be the post variable. Yeah. And what we're going to do is we're just going to return some information.
By the way, Sunny, I think what we really should start doing is putting everything in Code Sandbox right after the video is done. Like right after we're done live streaming, and then just show people where they need to add their like Firebase config file, and then they're good to go.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we'll do that on the next call, definitely. Yeah, awesome. So now what we're going to do is we have the post, and then what we're going to say is every time we get a post, it's very simple here. What we do is we say every time we get a post, so we're going to render out a post. So that's the first step.
So the main thing you're trying to do here is based on these. 1 second before you just start writing, because it keeps forcing me to follow you. So what you're trying to do here is you're just looping through these posts, right? So the post 1 should show here, and then post 2 should show here.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And then what we do here is we say username equals. So here we just say post dot, and then you access those properties we saw before. So now we're going to do username, and here we'll say caption equals post.caption, because that's what we gave it inside the object, and the final one is image URL. So image URL.
Nice. Double loop through.
Yep.
And Sunny, this is also a really good question.
Yeah.
Osama asks, trying not to sound stupid, but is Firebase better than using Node.js backend?
Yes, that's a really good question, actually. So a lot of people do get confused about this bit. So Firebase, what they try to do is they try and actually get rid of all the complexity of a traditional backend. So you don't have to make the API requests, and you're going to see it when we actually start implementing the database next. But if you do need a backend, so a Node.js is basically, for those of you who don't know, it's server-side JavaScript. So it's just the stuff that's on the server in the background. So whenever you're sort of using the Instagram website or something and you click something, in most cases it makes a request to like some kind of database server somewhere, and that's usually running either like Python or Node.js or something like that. But here, what we're going to do is Firebase actually strips that away from us. We don't even need to do that, and I'll show you that in a sec. But if you do need to do that, guys, Firebase offers something called Cloud Functions, and Cloud Functions can be written in Node.js. So to answer your question, it's not really a case of which one's better. It's more of a case of Firebase allows you to have Node.js Cloud Functions, which can scale up or down depending on how many people are using them at one time. So it's really, really powerful. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And I think also, did we mention that Firebase gives you a real-time database?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. So Firebase has something called the Firestore database, and that is a real-time database, guys. So traditionally, if you have a database in any app, you kind of have to constantly sort of fetch every 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and that's quite intense. And you don't really get like a real-time feel. It just feels like this janky experience. Whereas in Firebase, they do all of the stuff. So some of you may have used something called socket.io, which is basically like sets up like these real-time listeners. But in Firebase, you don't even have to do that. They do everything for you behind the scenes. All you have to do is like literally, I think it's like 3 lines of code, and we're going to show you that soon. And it pretty much sets up this real-time sync. So that way, if somebody adds some information into the database, it immediately comes through. And the way we combine that with React is really, really beautiful. And it gives you a really elegant solution to all of that headache. So you never have to worry about that real-time sync anymore. Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Nice. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to get rid of those 2 hard-coded posts. And now what this line of code is doing is just mapping through. So it's going through every single post, and it's just outputting a post component every time it sees some information. So if we save this now, we should see we're going to have 2 posts which are the same, because remember, I just copied and pasted the information, which is perfect.
Yep.
It's all working, right?
Let's get that.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, which is nice. So the next step, naturally, I think we should maybe implement the Firebase database.
Yep.
At this, yeah. So let's go ahead and go over to Firebase.
Mm-hmm. Database.
Yep. So database, and I want you to click on Create Database.
Okay, here we go.
Perfect. Start in test mode.
Oh, I keep forgetting to actually take the comment off the screen. All right, so let's click test mode.
Yep, test mode, and then click on next.
Sam Croatia always has to tell me remove that comment.
And then next, nice. Labs.
I mean, this is pretty cool. Like we have Labs here who says that they are using mostly Apache Cassandra for the databases. So like seems like they know a thing or two. And then Mario, you asked, is the writing on screen also a function of VS Code Live? No, I use an app for annotation called ScreenBrush. It allows you to annotate on your own screen.
Yeah. It's actually really handy, even when we're sort of pair programming and I can't see what Ozzy's talking about.
Because I can I'm just like, bro, look right over here, man. Look right over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So now we've got the database set up. So now basically all you need to know at this point is many people may have used a SQL database. Many people may have used NoSQL databases. This is like a hybrid, right? So Firebase, they realized that there was these problems with SQL databases. They realized that there was a lack of functionality in NoSQL databases. So they basically found a middle ground, and they have this document collection structure. And what we're going to do here is you pretty much have a collection of posts. So right now we have some posts. So we're going to create a collection for that. And you have, imagine every single post is something called a document, right? So you have one collection called posts, and then you have multiple documents inside of it, which are each going to resemble a post on our Instagram clone, right? So just as Kazi's done here, he's actually created the collection, and then you've got the document ID, which is automatically generated, and then you've got the 3 fields. So you've got caption, username, and image URL. So perfect. So if you want to go ahead and add a caption, so let's go ahead and add a test caption. So, and then if you want to go ahead and write a username, there you go, and then image URL. Let's just find an image URL, or you can grab the one from the code maybe. Yep, so you can grab that one. Nice. There we go. And as soon as you click save, that should be done. Awesome. So now you can see we've added one post, right? So the next step, what we need to do is go ahead and get our config file so that we can tell. So now we need to connect our React app to our Firebase database. So let's go over to that little cog icon on the left. Yep. So let's go ahead and click that side menu. Yep. Project settings. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and if you click on config, this is the magic sort of piece that we need. So what we're going to do in our code is we're going to create a file called firebase.js. So inside we're going to create a little bit of a config file, and this is basically going to be responsible now for all of our config settings, right? So if we go here, and I'm just going to do, so let me open up firebase.js. So firebase.js, there we go. And you've copied it in there, right? Oh, you've done it already. Nice. Okay. So this is the API key that you just got before, right?
I just
okay.
Yeah, I just got it right now.
Yep. So now what we're going to do is, this is the snippet of code that I always refer to, so you guys can just copy this. And what we're going to do is we're just going to grab the contents of the config, just cut it out, and all we're going to do, guys, is just pop it inside of here. So what this is doing here is basically it's initializing the app. So we've installed Firebase. I don't know if we've actually done that yet. We need to, inside the terminal, we need to do an npm I Firebase. So that's actually going to install Firebase into our project, because we need to use the modules.
And just a little note, guys, something I learned recently is you don't need to do this -- save anymore with npm. So you can actually just do npm I Firebase. Just a side note.
That's actually really handy. I didn't know that until you told me that.
Yeah. I Stack Overflowed, and I was like, it's saving that module.
Yeah, I just kind of assumed. I was like, no, we can't do that. It's going to break.
Yeah.
Awesome. So then we have, so while that's installed, now we just imported the Firebase module at the top.
Do you know the answer to this question, by the way, Sunny? Ross, the boss, asked, so I'm in the works, a web developer, and I use Angular. Would this process be similar in Angular?
So it's a good question. To some degree, you would have some similarities because they're both JavaScript. So you'd be using the same sort of like SDK. But with that said, there are a lot of differences, guys, because the way we're going to pull it in and the way we're going to render connect to the database is a massive sort of differentiation between how you use React and then how you use Angular. So I would recommend, if you're doing this, I would stay with React. If you do want to sort of learn more about Angular stuff, then I'd recommend following a different tutorial and just doing it from scratch and not sort of implementing it this way. Yeah,
because Angular is like a framework and React is just a library. So React is much more lightweight. So with Angular, even Sunny and I were talking about this yesterday, you're going to have a full, you have to follow their structure for how you store your files and your directories. And literally you have to work within that framework. With React, you don't have to worry about any of that. So it's going to be completely different.
Exactly. It's so much lightweight, guys, especially if you're new to this. I would definitely recommend React. Yeah. And it's also much more popular, guys. It's much more popular at the moment.
It's just crazy to me that we're building a full database, connecting it, having that two-way sync, and we're not setting up routes, we're not setting up endpoints, we're not setting up a ORM, we don't have a models database. It's weird to me because anytime you're doing model view controller, you have to do those things.
Yeah, you would have to do everything by the book. Whereas with React, it's very much a case of like you just write what you need and the rest is done. And Firebase is such a good complementary feature, sort of suite of tools to use with it because they're the same thing. They just get rid of all the complexity. So combining the two is a no-brainer. But there's just not that many tutorials on it, which is why this would actually be really useful to a lot of people. Yeah.
I know we keep getting lots of questions and we want to go through it fast, but these are all really good questions, so I want to just address them. Muhammad asks, is it safe to use all DB credentials in front end side?
So it's a very good question. There are many things that you can do to protect it. So a lot of this stuff, guys, even if you protect it and you use all this complicated stuff, when you actually release your app, if you inspect the code, even on production websites, if you would go to, like, if you went to Instagram, their API keys are actually going to be inside of the inside of their front end. So a lot of the stuff, in this case, the config stuff, yes, it's okay to have it on the front end, but with that said, I would make sure that you set up the rules, the security rules correctly in Firebase. So what that would usually mean is any request which would come outside of the, say for example, if you deploy this website, if somebody was to use your config outside of your website domain, it should block it, right? So you can set those things up, but I would recommend setting those up. And even Firebase database, you can actually apply a bunch of rules. Yeah.
Because you can set it up in a way where it's like Muhammad.com. If they use it on there, then it works. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something which I'd recommend, and that's probably the better way to do it. What I would say is don't push this into. Actually, no. With that said, honestly, it's completely fine. These are public. These are quite public in terms of what you can do with them. I've seen actual production massive websites with their Firebase keys on there, so it's actually completely fine, provided you set your rules up correctly.
Awesome. Let's keep it going. Coding says it's so amazing. I can't wait to try this. New coder. I'm signed up for your monthly subs.
Awesome, love to hear that. Nice.
Let's keep going.
Nice.
And if you guys ever want to join the Profit with JavaScript course, guys, where we go deep into all of this, I know some of you guys, we have 3 of you guys just joined. So Derek joined, and Bryce and Richard in the last 30-40 minutes. So if you guys ever want to join, the link is in the description. Click that link. And I mean, again, if you want to learn all of this stuff and then learn how to go to Upwork, go to freelancer.com, all these online platforms and land clients, we show you that as well. So click that link and join the course, and then you can come back to watching this tutorial.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying this kind of sessions, guys, we actually have like up to 4 of these in the course every single week, which is really, really amazing. And those are much more personal. So we actually jump on a Zoom call and we chat back and forth, which is really nice.
Yeah, right.
Aaron Fanning said some really nice stuff there. You guys are teaching me so much more than my uni is. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. That's what we're here for. That's what gets us hyped up, And again, guys, just remember, you want to take Instagram story while this is happening, record the video, flip the camera to yourself, also show your face. So like record what you're building, then show your face, and we will repost you, on our thing. I think I've shared this with you guys, but I'll do it again. But mine is at Clever Kazi, and then Sunny, yours is
SSSS Sangha.
Yeah, so SSS Sangha right there.
There we go.
So yeah, guys, definitely share this with us. That's what keeps us going. All right.
Definitely. We love to see that because it literally motivates us every time for these sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to call this initialize app function, which is provided to us from Firebase. We pass it the config, and then all we need to do here is this is some simple setup. And this is grabbing 3 services from Firebase, and it's storing them into 3 variables. So one is to access the DB. We do this. The other one is to access the authentication. So we'll explain more about this afterwards, but this is so that we can actually log in, log out, create users, etc. And the final one is storage, and that's going to be how we can actually upload a bunch of like a bunch of pictures and stuff like that to Firebase and then store in our DB. So
wow! So I don't even have to worry about S3, Amazon Web Services, and any of that.
No, dude, none of that horrible buggy stuff.
This is amazing. Yeah. This is literally so amazing. None of
that stuff. You literally have a very clean piece of code and it just works as we want it to. Nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to app.js. And basically, we have a little mission right now. So I think you need to follow me again, Kazi.
I will follow you. Don't worry. All right, here we go. Boom, boom. Let's go. Rock and roll.
So now what we want to do is we want to, instead of having this hard coded, we want that to pull into our database. And React gives us something really powerful. It's called a use effect. And use effect is, again, so just like we had the use state hook, there's another one called use effect. And what use effect does is basically, I'm just going to write a quick comment here, is it runs a piece of code based on a specific condition. That's literally what a use effect does. So if you just break it down and think of it like that, it becomes very, very simple. So let's just do use effect. Use effect. It's a bit confusing if you do that. Yeah, use effect. There we go. So if you do that, so it's pretty much just gonna run a piece of code based on a specific condition. So what we can have several of these guys. So in this case, we're gonna type one out here, and the syntax for this is we do use effect, and then it has an arrow function to begin with, and this is where the code runs. So this is where the code runs, right?
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is the conditions actually go into here, and the conditions are simply variables. So if we leave it blank, this is going to mean that it's going to run once when the page loads. So once when the app component loads. So right now we're inside of the app component. It's going to basically run when the app component loads, but then it's not going to run again. So it's actually really, really good for what we need to do right now.
Yeah.
But say, for example, if I was to put inside of here posts, this would mean it would run once when the app component loads, but also every single time posts change. So every single time posts change, it will run this code again. So you've got some really good functionality here that you can be flexible with, and you can have several of these to do as much sort of complicated
Sunny,
stuff
look
as you
at
want.
this. This is so cool. Okay, so I'm just writing some dummy text. So you see the text on the screen, right?
Yeah.
You see how where it says dummy, it's like a little harder to read than like where it's, the variable and everything.
Yeah.
It automatically knows where it's harder to read, and it can darken it.
Oh, nice. Did you have to press anything to do that?
Hold control. I just hold control, and it does that. That's mind blowing.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice. And do you have to get rid of it, or does it go after a certain amount of time?
If I just hit enter, it goes away. But if I don't hit enter, it'll stay
nice.
there.
That's awesome. I think I might grab that as well soon.
Yeah.
So here what we need to do is we need to import
So
our
this one over here, just to clarify for everybody, this little like bracket that looks like this just means whatever the code is here, run it once when the page refreshes. That's it.
Yep.
Never run again. That's all that means.
Exactly. So what we're going to do here is we need to pull the information from the database and then basically capture it here, right?
Yeah.
But Firebase gives us some really, really powerful stuff here. So first what we need to do is we need to import that database variable that we set up earlier. So we go ahead into our Firebase file and we import that. And then here what we can do is we can say db dot collection. And what did you name the collection? I think it was posts, right?
Yeah, it was called post, but with quotes. Holy crap, Sonny. 5 times in a row. Semicolons. You put semicolons 5 times in a row.
Yeah, I know. God, honestly, you get like butterfingers after this. But we got the collection. So this is the posts inside of Firebase, guys. So it's called posts. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to say, we basically need to say on snapshot. So on snapshot is basically this really, really powerful listener. That's how we need to think of it. It's a very, very powerful listener. And what it's going to do is basically every single time the database changes in that collection. So every single time a document gets added, changed, modified inside of posts, imagine a camera, right? It's just going to take a snapshot of exactly what that collection looks like. So you're going to get an update of all the documents. If somebody adds a document or adds a post, it's going to update and it's going to refire this bit of code.
Yep.
Right?
Every single time, any new document. If I add a new document here, like a new post information, boom, this thing fires right there. So that's what on snapshot does. It just says, hey, every single time a change happens, fire this code.
Exactly. Then this bit of code will fire off.
Yeah. By the way, Labs asks, do you guys have a Discord? So we have what's called Slack, and we can actually show you guys our Slack community. So this is, where's Profit with JavaScript? So this is our Profit with JavaScript Slack community. And so it's kind of like Discord, but we've set it up in a pretty awesome way. So this is where we'll like assign you homeworks, feedback, review, and you can see all the students are extremely active. We have over 1,200 students in here. Everybody is super freaking awesome and just cool. So if you want to be a part of this, then definitely join Profit with JavaScript, and then we have a very curated set of community of just people who are amazing and are willing to learn just like you.
Exactly. We have weekly homework. We have coaching calls. The community is so supportive, guys. It literally becomes a case of if you ask a question, you can be guaranteed that within about 10 minutes, somebody would have answered your question.
Yeah.
So it's much more responsive than you pretty much get with like Stack Overflow or those sort of communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Stack Overflow just makes you want to just always be thinking about killing yourself.
It really does.
They're at this point, so condescending and patronizing everybody on there.
It really is. Somebody said how to get access to it. So I think if you guys want to join the course, the link for the course is actually in the description of the video.
Yeah.
So you just want to go check that out now, and you can
click that link and jump in the course. Okay, let's keep going.
So as we mentioned, whenever something gets pushed into this post, it's going to fire off this bit of code. And when it fires it off, we basically just want to do this. We want to say set our posts to something inside of here. And what we're going to put inside of here is we're going to say from that snapshot, go get the docs. So the docs are the list of things that we saw. Autocomplete's doing this annoying thing. So yeah, docs. And then we're going to say map through every single one. And this piece of code is always the one that sort of gets a bit tricky for everyone to understand. So map through every single one, get each doc.
It's right? Kind of just like a fancy way of writing a loop. But I mean, I know it's more, the map is more than that, but I just think of it like a for loop.
Yeah, it is a for loop.
Yeah, and if I had multiple docs here, map is allowing me to just loop through it, and then whatever that one doc is, you get access to it right here. So if we had the second doc, then it would loop through and you would get access to it.
Exactly. And then what we do here is we just want to map doc.data. So data is basically going to give you all of the properties that Kazi's got in that document on the right. So you can see caption, image URL, and the final one, which was username. Yeah. So it's going to have all of those things, right? So that pretty much is going to update the posts as soon as the component loads. So if we've done everything right, I can actually get rid of this right now. So there's this hard-coded stuff.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
And I can get rid of this. And if I save it now, we should see it.
Yeah, what we did is we just deleted these two posts that we had hard-coded. Now what we're going to be trying to do is pull the stuff that we have in the database. Okay.
Exactly. So if we refresh now, we should, if everything's gone well, we can see, we need to npm start. Yeah, nice. What we should see now is that everything pops up accordingly over where we expect it. So we should have one post, and that post, the contents of that should be what Kazi put in the database earlier. There we go. Nice.
Oh, wow. So this is coming from, hold on, let's actually put it side by side. Take a look at what's happening. So this is what we had put in our database earlier, if you guys remember. And so here, the caption is this. The image is coming from free code camp, and then username is actually right there. This is this one document. Now, what happens if I add another document? Will it show up?
Yeah, so this is a really beautiful part. So as you start writing that, I'll explain what happens. So we just set up a real-time listener, guys, right? So what that means is that every single time, remember I said every single time something gets pushed into that collection, it's going to refire that piece of code that we wrote, which is going to update the posts, and then it re-renders everything on the page. So that means that once Kazi adds all of this stuff, what's going to happen is actually it's going to refire that code and then in real time re-render it on the screen. So it's actually going to be a really, really quick implementation. So as soon as Kazi hits save, watch what happens. There we go.
That was clean. Look at that. Boom, right here. Everything that I just wrote is right there.
Yeah, which is amazing. And guys, somebody asked a really good question here. How do we pull individual post IDs? So I'll actually show you right now, because we are going to need to do that at some point. So we can actually do that right now. So where we have the use effect, So we head over back to the code.
Yes.
And what he's talking to is the unique IDs that are for every single document. They each have a unique ID.
Yeah. So the ID is right here, guys. Every single document has its own unique ID. He wants to pull that out and get access to these.
Yeah, exactly. So now the way we do that is previously we were just mapping the three things, so like the caption, the image URL, and that stuff. So all I'm going to do here is rather than just returning that stuff, I'm going to actually create an object here that we're returning. And that stuff, I'm just going to basically call that post. So it's going to have a post, and then that's going to have all the data inside of that post. And what we're going to have here is we're also going to have an ID. So right now I'm actually creating an object, so I'll make it a bit clearer. So there you go. We have an object, so we have an ID, and we have a post. And the ID, the way we get the ID, guys, is just say doc.id.
Right, so each
ID.
doc is going to be this. So doc.id will get you literally that ID right there. And then when you do doc.data, you're actually digging into this specific doc, and you're getting this data over here. And so that's this guy right there, by the way. So it's like literally going to be a squiggly like object.
Yeah. And what we need to do to fix this now is because previously we were mapping through our posts thinking that everything was just an object, but now it's an object with keys. So what we can do here is we can actually just destructure at this point, and we can say post, and we can also add an ID, and that will fix it for us. So now we have the ID and we have the post. And what we can do with that ID, guys, is React is really clever, right? Previously, we weren't passing something called a key. And if we don't pass a key, every single time that Kazi was adding a new element to that, a new post to the page, it was re-rendering the entire list because it wasn't sure which one was changed, which one was edited or updated. If we add a unique key now, so in this case, we're going to add the key, which is the ID of the post. Now it's really genius. So it's basically, if he pushes a new post in, it will know that the two posts that were previously there were old posts, so don't bother re-rendering them. Just re-render the new one and push the list down.
Okay, so what are you saying? Add a new post?
Yeah, so if you add a new post now, it's not going to be that apparent when you see it now, but it will be more efficient when we re-render this.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is like if I add a new post, it won't refresh these. It will just add a new post and that's it, right?
Yeah, it won't even refresh. But right now, without a key, it actually refreshes all three. So it will refresh all three of those elements on the page.
Okay, so instead of refreshing all three of those, this time it will only refresh one, the one that I'm adding. Okay, this is very important. Like with 3, it doesn't show, but like what if I had 20,000 images on here or 20,000 posts? You don't want to refresh 20,000 posts. So
yeah,
caption here is okay, and then we will have an image URL, and maybe do I have another PNG? Let's try this one.
Nice.
Alfred, by the way, guys, if you guys wanna get real
Alfred's
pro.
crazy. Kazi introduced me to that, and pretty much everything you copy is available for 3 months afterwards. So you literally have
a database.
Copied stuff. Yeah, you have your own database, and it's so crazily powerful, guys. Like you can copy whole snippets of code. It's crazy. There we go. Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, that was an image I had copied like sometime long ago. And
nice.
And I had it here, and boom, right there, we got it. My username is right there, and then my caption is right here.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
So now what we want to do, guys, is I guess.
Whoa! I want to just highlight this. This is pretty actually awesome. Pranbir says, "Hi, buddy. Thank you very much for your tutorials. I followed your tutorial, Django, and was able to build some web applications by myself. And finally, I was able to crack an interview in a big MNC."
Nice. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Nice. And that's honestly, guys, that's actually really common with our students. We actually hear this more than we thought we would. Like, we constantly hear of success stories. It's really, really nice to see every time we sort of hear from that.
Yeah.
So awesome. I think what we should naturally do now is make some kind of way so that we can actually upload, right?
Yeah, like so we can we can upload ourselves, right?
Yeah, we need to upload ourselves. So at this point, I guess the way to do that is, firstly, actually, what might be better is if we do the logging in. because we're going to
Uh-huh.
need to have some kind of username when we do that.
Okay, so right
Actually,
now
at this
what we're
point,
trying to add
yeah.
is, oh, actually, you know what I should do? I should actually add a screen overlay on Ecamm. Um,
Right.
and actually, because that actually could be really cool. Give me 1 second. I hope I don't mess it up. So I'll say, what are we doing? So right now we're going to work on user authentication, right?
Yeah, so we're going to do some user authentication. So Firebase authentication.
Okay,
There we
I'll
go.
say Firebase user authentication like that.
Yep.
So what I'm
Oh,
saying,
nice.
you know what I mean? So like anybody
Yeah.
joins at any time, they know what we're currently working on.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's make it a little, maybe make it a little bit smaller. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
There
Hold
we go.
on. So text smaller.
Yeah, so just make the text little bit smaller, and that's it. Awesome.
Okay. I think that, I don't know, maybe is
Yeah.
that hopefully if that's helpful for you guys, let us know. We're just
Yeah.
trying it out and seeing how this works out. Maybe background, give it a different type of color.
Yeah. In which IDE are you coding? We're coding in VS Code right now. And we're using a feature called VS Live Share, which is how me and Kazi are coding at the same time, and I can see his local host. So we'd really recommend you guys download and check that out because it allows you to actually code on the same project at the same time in a really nice way. Oh, that's cool. That's clean.
That's awesome,
Okay.
right? So then now anytime
Yeah.
anybody joins at any time. Okay.
Nice. Okay. So with that said, let's go ahead and go over to Firebase now.
Okay.
So if we click on the little burger menu on the left,
Here.
yep, and we click on authentication. So guys, this is by far, I have coded with authentications before. This is by far the easiest way to do
Oh,
any sort of authentication.
I am excited. I want to learn how to do this authentication because like authentication is always a nightmare.
Yeah, and you're going to be amazed at how clean and easy
I
this
know
is
we're
right
gonna
now.
do
So,
email and password one. Are we
yep.
gonna do Google or anything like that or not right now?
So not right now, but we
Okay.
can definitely do. I think that would be an amazing video to show a really
Yes.
clean sort of. Yeah, we could definitely do that. I think that'd
I'm
be a good
pumped.
idea for the
Okay.
future.
So email and
Today we're
password.
going to do email and password. So if we click on enable,
Uh-huh.
go ahead and click on save.
Yep.
Perfect. And now what we want to do is it's that simple. And also, guys, you know what, Kazi, that's a really good video for next time because we can show how you can use the forgotten password features of Firebase as well. Where they send you an email, they do all of that for you.
Yeah. Yeah,
That'll be,
exactly. What was that
yeah.
thing that stored all copied? It's called Alfred. Alfred.
Yeah.
Also, you can see
Amazing.
here the authorized domains. So even if you can see all our front end code and APIs and everything, it doesn't matter because if you're not on this list, it won't work for you.
Oh wow, I didn't know that was there. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I thought that was in a different
Look at me.
place. Oh,
Like
nice.
this is my first time in here, and I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about.
No, but that's actually right. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Nice.
You and security, man. You guys are not friends. Okay, awesome, cool.
Okay, so the next step is what we can do is let's go ahead and go to. So we already have the authentication config set up that we set up earlier. What we're going to do now is also have some kind of input field, so like a email, password, and a username. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a modal for that, right? So it'll be a very clean interface that we can use. So we're going to use something called Material UI, guys. Material UI is really slick. So let's go ahead and go over to materialui.com.
Okay, so Material UI, I'm right there.
Yeah, in the search bar at the top, just type in modal.
Mm-hmm. Look at that Elasticsearch.
Oh, nice. And here we get a bunch of dummy code, right? So what I'm going to do now is if you go down, you can actually click on you see the crocodile brackets to the left and right. If you go down to the simple modal, so just a little bit down. Yep, there we go. There, right where your mouse is. So just over those crocodile brackets.
Huh?
So the left, yeah, that one. Yep. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to copy a bunch of code. So I'm going to copy the modal element of the code. So at the bottom,
Okay.
I'm going to copy the import. So
So this one
you
right
can,
over here.
yeah, so I'm not going to copy the entire thing, but I'm actually going to copy just what we need. Because most of the time, guys, you're actually going to see these and you don't need every bit of code from it. You only need like small snippets.
Okay, so
So the one that I'm
we're
interested
following you on
in,
this other side, so we'll see what you're gonna copy.
yeah. So I'm going to copy this modal, and this modal needs some kind of state for opening. It fires off the handle close, and we don't actually need these two things, so we can get rid of that. And then it renders some kind of body here. And in this case, the body is pretty much a variable inside of the example. So you can see it says const body at the bottom. So I'm just going to copy the actual contents of that, so we don't actually have a separate variable, but it's just going to be dumped here. So if you see what I did there, and
Yeah.
instead of all of this stuff, I'm just going to say I am a modal, like that, right? And then what we're going to do is I need a few functions. So I need a piece of state to keep track of if it's open. I need a onClose method, so a handle close function. So I'm going to create the handle close function. Actually, no, we can do that, or I'll show you a very nice little trick. So before we do that, we're going to create a piece of state to keep track of if the modal is open. So we say open, set open, and then we're going to use state, and then I'm basically going to do use state false.
So what we're
Because we want
working on right now, guys, is a modal. So I mean, I don't know if Instagram has a working.
there's actually a good demo on Material UI that you can check.
Okay, Material UI. Yeah. So let's go to here, and
Yeah, you just go up.
Up.
So that you see where it says
open
open
modal.
modal.
Yep. So we're trying to build a modal like this. So something that actually, when we click it, it pops up. And the reason is that that's what we want. And then people should be able to type in their username and password in a modal like this. So that's what we're building.
Exactly. And then it gives a really nice UI, guys. It's like quite a nice interface. It doesn't clog up the screen. It just sort of gives you this nice click out. You can click out of it if you need to. But yeah, so what we're going to do now is we've created the piece of state, and that then allows us to use it here. But then what we can do is on close, in the example that they gave us, on close, all it is a function that does this. So it pretty much just does that. It just says set open to false. We don't need all of this extra code, so we can get rid of that. We can go here and we can do something called an inline function. So we could just say this, set open to false. So that will literally just close every single time that you click outside of the modal. It's just gonna set the state of the modal to be false, which means it closes.
And on close is listening for any clicks outside of the modal.
Yeah, so they've built that for us, so they handle all that sort of extra headache. Which traditionally you would have had to account for all of that.
Yeah,
right?
Material UI takes care of it. I see.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of styling. I'm just going to copy right now. So there's a few things in styling. So I'm going to go ahead at the top of our file and copy that. And this is all just sort of Material UI styling. If anyone's interested in looking at that more, I'd recommend just checking out the dummy code that they give you, and you can pretty much see how that works. But what we do here is we actually need the classes. So what they do is they use this use styles hook, make styles hook, sorry. It gives us this use styles parameter. We just call it and it gives us access to classes. And then we end up using that over here. So it says classes.paper, and you can see like there's a bunch of styling rules here. So that's all that's doing. And then what we want to do is we want to get rid of this because we just want it to be in the middle of the page. So we don't want it to be randomly a little bit to the left or to the top. So with that said, I think that's everything we needed. We need to import Material UI. So there's a bunch of imports we need. So there's two that I'm going to just pull in right now. So it's these two that we are missing. There we go. Yep. And there's one more modal style. So get modal style is, where is that one? It's here. So let's go ahead and add that. So it's const modal style. And guys, I'm just getting this from the example code that we saw on the website. So there we go. Now all we need is a button to actually open our modal. So naturally that button is going to be something like login or register, right? So let's go ahead and add a button here. So let's just add it over here for now. And let's actually use a Material UI button. So it's just a capital B. And we need to import that. So maybe you can show that little trick, Ghazi, and just see if that works. So you just go to the edge of that, and then you press on Control Spacebar, and then you got auto import. There you go. I think your mic's gone off, Kazi.
Whole time. So yeah, all I did is I just went control space at the end of the button and then hit enter and it auto imported it at the top.
Yeah, that's it. Nice. And then all we do here is we just say, let's add this one. So let's just say it's called login, or yeah, login. Let's just call it login. Or let's call this one sign up, because we want to sign up first before we can actually log in. And here we just say on click, and this is going to fire off a sign in or sign up function. So I'm going to write a little function up here which says const sign up, and this one is just going to basically be a simple function. It has an event. Every time you sort of have these sort of things, you have an event, and I'd highly recommend you do event.prevent default, but it's because it's not a form, we don't have to do that. So now we connect it, so we say sign up. Oh no, sorry, here we're not even going to do that. We're just going to open the modal, and we're going to have all of that logic inside the modal. So here we just say set open to true. So now we should have a button on our page. So if we go ahead, and I've got a little error. There we go. Got rid of it. So now we should have a button on the page once it loads.
Right there. So sign up.
Yeah.
I can hover over.
Sign up button.
Ooh, nice.
Look at that. So we get a nice little modal there, guys, and that's actually gonna. It's responsive. It follows all the rules.
If I click inside of it, it stays there. But if I click anywhere outside of it, it detects it.
Exactly. So that's a really nice way of getting a responsive modal very quick. And what we need to do now is basically have a bunch of elements inside of it. So what we are going to do is, I'm just double checking something right now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a bunch of code inside here. So rather than hi, I am a modal, I'm going to have, firstly, I want to have the Instagram logo at the top. So I've just got a snippet here. So this is just saying it's going to be centered. So we're using some default HTML attributes to center it.
That's how I center my stuff.
And then we're going to say, I've got a class. I don't know if we're actually going to style it here, but I'm going to leave the class name here for now. And then basically this is just going to pop a little Instagram icon there. And then I'm going to have two input fields and a button. So I'm just going to copy some code here. So we've got two input fields and a button. So if I go ahead and pop this in. So I've just added two input fields. So we've got email and password, and this is sign up. So we actually need one more input field, which is also for the username of the user. So I'm going to paste that. So we've got three input fields here. So we've got username, email, and password. And now we're going to get a bunch of errors because we haven't actually set these pieces of state up. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need a username, an email, and a password. So here I'm going to basically just copy these lines of code 3 times, and I'm just going to change them as we need it. So I'm going to say this one is going to be username, and then look at that. That's really nice because Kazi can code at the same time, guys, and then we can just get this done really nicely and quick. So you see password, set password, and then username, we'll camel case it to be username. That's teamwork. Nice. Password, email. And so now we have all of our state set up. And handle login, it's asking, is not defined. So here,
by the way, just one question I want to take this by Logan. He says, guys, I'm new to the idea of writing JSX. What's actually handling the JSX syntax? Is it the React scripts naturally, or do I have to install JSX as a dependency first?
Right, that's a really good question. So so guys, something you need to remember is that when you do npm start, it actually does a bunch of stuff. So when you save a file, it actually sort of like bundles your app together, and it does a bunch of like it's called translation. So what that basically means is if you've got JSX, it will translate that into, it'll get your JavaScript and it'll basically pop that in and render it as normal HTML. But that is all set up with Create React App. Now if you want to do it manually, I would recommend you have to look at things like Webpack and do those things manually. But I would honestly recommend that you do use Create React App because the trade-off really isn't worth it. And if you do want to go the manual route, I would use Create React App and then look into something called ejecting your app from React. And that's how you can start to manually then tinker with those things. But I would never really start a project. Honestly, there's been professional jobs that I've done where I've used Create React App. So it's a very professional thing that you could do. And there's nothing wrong with setting up an app like that.
Got it. Awesome.
Yeah. Nice. That's a really good question. So next what we need to do is import the input module. So I'm going to go up to the top, import that. and then handle login. So right now, where we do this,
Mm-hmm.
the button click inside of that modal, we want it to call the sign up function. And here we're just going to say sign up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So nice. So if we save that and we have a look now, so right now our sign up function isn't
Nice.
doing anything, but I mean, it looks a bit janky, but we can fix that. So what we're going to do now is we have classes.paper, and what we want to do is actually have it. So the first step in fixing this issue is we want to have everything inside of a form, because a form will mean that you would naturally type out, and as soon as you hit enter, it's going to submit that form, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to do his. Oh, and also a reason why that might be happening is because I actually had these in the wrong brackets. So if you go ahead and try it now, so save and let's have a look at that. So if we save, so I think it's come up. Okay, so we still need to start it. Okay, fair enough. So now what we want to do is outside of this div, we want to surround everything inside of our form. We're going to surround it inside of a, we're going to create a form and just surround all of our contents inside of that. So I'm going to grab all this stuff, chuck it inside a form, and just push it a little bit in so we have the formatting correct.
Another good question is, how do we pass data beyond email and password, like a person's name or phone number, when creating a new user? Because that's pretty good, because I want to know that too. If I was creating a new user in
Yep.
Firebase, I want to store different types of information.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. In Firebase, we actually are going to do that for the username. So I'm actually going to collect the username from the input form and then update the user's profile information so that that's their display name, which is attached to them. Now, for the phone number, they also have a function that you can use. I think it's update phone number.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll see when we do this, we're going to call something called update. I'm just trying to find a code that we're going to use. I think it's something like, update profile is what we're going to use. And that's how we're going to update the display name of the user. But you can also do, I think it's update phone number, update email, etc. So you can actually do those things. Yeah, you can. But when we get to
Got
that,
it.
it will make a lot of sense because we need to still write a use effect for that. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to write we're going to style this class so it just looks a bit nicer. So right now it looks a bit weird. So we're going to do class name and we're going to say app sign up. And inside of app.css, I'm going to have app sign up. And basically here, this is all going to be, this is basically going to be how we style that form that you see on the right. So if you want to just open up that form at the moment, the modal, sorry, Kazi, on your screen. So if you click sign up,
Uh-huh.
and then every time I make a change, you'll see it in real time now. So if we do display flex, so look what happens, guys. It's going to get all scrambled up now if I do that. So you see that?
Yeah.
Because it goes into a row. So now what I need to do is flex direction column,
Column, yeah.
and what happens? We do this,
Woo!
and immediately look at that. Like it just completely fixed everything. It looks much cleaner. I think maybe we can do text align center here, and we might be able to get.
If you didn't have hot reload, would it even be possible to see that change like that? Because if I hit, I would have to hit refresh and then it would break out of that form.
Exactly, and that's a really good point because that's really one of the amazing benefits of using something like React and hot reloading. Because some apps, imagine you have to sign in, you have to do a bunch of steps just to get to a certain point, and then you have to style it, and then every time you sort of make a change, it just got rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes development tremendously slower, which is exactly. I'm really glad you brought that up because that's a really, really good use case, and that's the main use case for hot reloading. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Awesome.
Nice. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we need to basically power up this sign up function. So here what we do is we say to handle this now, we just need to say, so event.prevent default. So we always have this, otherwise it's going to cause a refresh when we submit the form. So we need to give the form type submit. And that gives us that natural behavior of when we're typing in and we hit enter on the keyboard, it then sort of submits the form. So we need to have this so that it doesn't refresh.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we want to have is auth. So auth is from that. So we need to import it at the top. So we import that from the config file that we had previously.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here now, we have auth. And what we're going to do is say auth. And this bit's going to blow your mind, Kazi, when you see this. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
user with email and password, and all I do right now is pass the email and password, right? And
On
then
sign
I
up.
say, yeah, on sign up, that's it. And literally I do that, and then I say dot catch, because if there's any error when
Oh,
I'm
this
trying
is
to
from
do
the
this,
state. This is being passed from
yeah,
the state variables.
that's passed from the state, exactly, yeah.
Holy crap.
And if there's any error in that process, I'm going to catch it and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to alert. So I'm going to make a little pop up on the screen and
Yeah.
I want to show that message. So error.message. And honestly,
Ooh.
that is it. Like it's that crazy. It's crazy, right? Like it's honestly
User
like it's insane.
authentication has. I always hate user authentication. Setting it up in any app that I'm creating, it's like one of my worst experiences to just see it. Oh my god.
Yeah, honestly, it's insane. And what we're going to do at this point is we also, when we create the user, I
Mm-hmm.
want to then update their username, right? So I want to then have their username sort of be shown. So what we're going to do is, oh, we don't actually do it here. There's two steps to this. We'll get to that in a second. So before we actually show you this, what we're going to do is, this is the first part, right? This is essentially going to create the user and then it's going to catch it. So we're going to basically, if I just do this, so you can say it's doing auth.create user with email and password. And if there's any error for any reason,
Can we
we're
see?
going to
Can
show.
we see it in action? Like, can I just have my Firebase database on this side and like actually test it and see the user get created live?
I think so. We can try it in a sec. If you go to the React app now and you go to sign up, I just
Uh-huh.
want to show something. If you go sign up and then you click sign up at the bottom, look what
Ooh.
happens. It pops up saying the email address is badly formatted. So they give you backend validation, guys.
They're
They give
yeah.
you all the
Wow.
validation.
They're giving you back-end validation, and even you're getting these error messages that they have created, and all we're yeah, we don't have to do anything.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like all from that 2 lines of code, right? And that's going to create the user and everything. But before we do that, there's a really, really important part that we need to do here. And this is the bit which is a little bit of something that we need to get our head around. But once it makes sense, it's actually the sort of powerful part. So we do use effect,
Uh-huh.
and then here, so use effect. This is a syntax for a use effect. So this is going to run once when we sort of run the app. And now what we need to do is, there's a listener in use effect, right? And the way we do it is we say auth dot on auth state changed. So it's used like this. It says on auth state changed, and basically this is going to listen, and it gives us back something called an auth user. This is going to listen for any single time any authentication change happens. So what I mean by that is, if you log in or if you log out or
Yeah.
create a user,
Yeah.
every single time any change happens, it fires this off, right? So can you
Okay.
see how we're using this pattern of listeners, right? We used
Yeah.
it for the database with on snapshot, and now we're using it again for this. And now we're going to say, if there was a user, so for example, if you had logged in,
Yeah.
so at this point, user has logged in, right?
Yeah.
And this code is going to get fired, else the user has logged out,
Yeah.
right? So that's when these two bits of code get fired off. So with that said, we can actually do some really cool stuff now. So I'm going to create a piece of state to keep track of the user. So I'm going to say set user and user, and this is going to start off with a default value of no,
Uh-huh.
right? And here I'm going to say set the user to be no. Oops. So if they're logged out, I just want to set the user to be no. So I always want to make sure that if they're logged out, the user is going to be no, right? Or if they do log out, reset the user to no. And then here, once the user logs in,
Yeah.
here what I want to do is I want to console log it first. So that way it's always nice to see inside of the console to see if somebody's actually there or not.
Yeah.
I'm then going to set the user to the auth user. So I'm going to actually capture that user inside of our state.
Uh-huh.
And guys, this actually is amazing because it survives a refresh. So let's say Kazi logged in and then he refreshed. It would go and check and it would see that he's still logged in because it uses cookie tracking.
Oh.
And then it would set the piece of state. So that way it's persistent. So the state by default is not persistent, but this actually keeps you logged in, which is really nice.
So state is not persistent, but is this thing over here that keeps you logged in?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
and then now this next snippet of code is
can
where the
can I
username.
can I log in right now?
Not yet. We've got one little step, and then the whole thing comes together. So this is
Okay.
the final piece. So
Yep.
we're saying if or if that user has a display name, then don't update them, right? Because by default they shouldn't have this. They shouldn't have any display name when we created them,
Yeah.
right? But if they were a new user, so this is most likely the case of if we just created someone, right? Then in our state we have the username that we just typed in.
Yep.
And we're saying, go to the user that you just logged in with, update their profile, and set their
Ooh.
display name.
And this
Yeah.
adds it to their Firebase as an attribute, right?
Yes, exactly
Oh,
that. So
that is
now
so
we're gonna
nice.
see, yeah, we're actually going to see the user being updated in that time. So now we've got two things. We have a listener, and there's one tiny step we need to do now. So remember, guys, we're using username here, and we're also using the user. So remember, we're updating the user, and we're using username. So that means we have to include them dependencies here. So because we're saying anytime they change, they have to be fired off. So that whenever you use a variable, so for example, we're using a variable here, and we're also
Sunny,
using
quick
the
question.
user.
If this is already a
Yep.
listener,
Yep.
why is it inside of this listener use effect?
So use effect isn't a listener as such. It
Right.
is. I mean, it listens for changes for this, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is a sort of think of this as like a back-end listener, right?
Yeah.
This is a front-end listener because it's listening to changes on the front end.
Yep.
This one's changing to back-end responses, like if we log in, if we don't log in, that
Right.
sort of stuff. So the two work together. But now one thing we need to remember is this is a listener, you're correct. So every single time it changes, it refires this code. So the problem that we run into now is what happens if this code, that the front end listener gets fired off 10 times because the username changed 10 times?
Right.
Then we're going to have 10 listeners and it's going to get really heavy, right?
Yeah.
So what we do is in a use effect, and this is something new to you, I think, as well. Like if in a new use effect, what we can say is this on or state change returns something called an unsubscribe. So you can say const unsubscribe, const unsubscribe equals this, right? And then this basically sets the listener, but then you get this function at the end, right? And then what we want to do here is basically inside of a use effect, right? Inside of any use effect, you have this ability to basically say return. So you can return a function, right? And this basically says once if the use effect fires again, perform some cleanup actions before. So this is going to say perform some cleanup actions before you refire the use effect, right? And in our case, what we're doing is we're unsubscribing the listener, so that way it doesn't spam and it doesn't start. And then this way it would. So imagine what happens here. So say we log in
Yeah.
and we update the username, right?
Yep.
It's going to refire this front end code. But before it does that, we were saying detach the listener that you just set up so that we don't have duplicates,
Yeah.
and then it will refire it.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's all about efficient programming. So that's a very sort of efficient use case of how we use this.
Yeah.
And once it sort of, it sounds quite sort of complicated, but remember what we said, use effect, if you understand what that does, everything starts to make a little bit more sense,
Yep.
right? So now we can sign up.
Okay.
So let's have the terminal open. So let's make this full screen.
The code?
No, sorry, in the inspector.
Okay.
Yep, so let's make this full screen and let's have the terminal open. And let's go to console. Yep, nice. And if we refresh, so let's refresh. Just want to show one thing. Yep, so now you should be able to see inside of there. I mean, it should come up. Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, we're good. Yep. So now, yep, so you can say clever programmer and enter an email. So it doesn't have to be it just has to be a correct.
Just wanted to just highlight this. I think this is pretty good. Logan says, there's going to be a repo of this project available in Slack after the call. I'd like to recreate it from scratch for my learning and then add it to my portfolio this weekend.
That's a really good question. We can definitely do that. We can definitely sort of host this code on sort of the community, or we can push it into a private GitHub or a public GitHub and give you access to that. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
And that's really good, by the way. He's talking about adding it to a portfolio, which we always recommend inside the course.
Yep.
So look, there you go. Did you see that? So you see that exact thing is a user. So I know it looks like a lot of gibberish, right?
Yeah.
But
I
it's
can
a
see
bunch
display name. I can see email.
Yeah.
Email verified as
Right.
false. Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So now if you refresh the page, I just want to show you something now. So if you refresh that page, look what happens now, which is really nice. So if you click on, so you see it popped up again, the console log.
Yeah,
So the
it
user still
says
submit.
if I refresh, yeah, it says there.
Yeah. Now if you
Ooh.
click that,
Yeah. It still
click that and
knows
go
who I
down.
am in email.
yeah. So we had one little problem there, that the actual username didn't get updated. I think that is because we maybe need to do it at the point of creation. So maybe we have to do where we create the email, create user with email and password. I think we do it at that point. So if we go back to the code, so you notice how it hasn't got a display name. So we need to fix that. So what we can do now is we can say here, we can say dot then. So yeah, so dot then, and I think this gives us back an auth user. So I think this gives us back the user's credentials. So we can say user here, and then we can fire off some code, and then here we can say auth user, and let's have a look at what we get. So if we do dot, I should be able to see a bunch of the, so we got additional user info, credential, operation type, user. So I think if we do user dot update, and by the way, guys, in order to see what is going on here, I'm just literally doing command control space. So you can try that, Kazi. If you go press dot. Yep, dot, and then if you scroll all the way down, so you press oh no, not there, sorry, down here.
What line?
So I'm on line 88. So if you just do dot, and then you see you get a bunch of the autocompletes, right?
Yeah.
So the one we're interested in here is, rather than doing it where we did it before, so update profile, right? So we're going to keep it there, but we're also going to do it down here. So we're going to say update the profile when you create them, so that the display name is equal to the username. And we are going to get rid of it where we had it previously before. So we can actually get rid of that block of code. So now it's actually simplified our code quite a lot.
Yeah.
So yep, so now when we create them, we are going to update the profile. And what we need to do is we also need to return that. So because it's from a promise, so if we return it, it ends that and it does it correctly. So with that said, username, oops, got to be careful there. And we say that. So now let's run another test. So we need to actually create a sign out button because you're currently signed in. So I don't know if it will sign you in again. We can try it. We can give it a try. Yeah. So let's do test 1, 2, 3, and then let's do sign out. So this should have signed you up into a new.
I think I'm signed up. So let me try refreshing, and then let's see what it does.
Yeah.
Now I'm 2 users right now. So test 1, 2, 3,
really?
And then I'm also.
Oh no. So
No,
it's
no.
correct. It's
It's
just
correct.
it logged you out of the other one. That was just a React re-rendering.
And I'm curious, actually, is it putting me in cookies? So let's take a look at cookies. Localhost, and
Yes.
I have my session ID.
Yeah, so I think it's either the session ID that they use to track you, or it's something like, if you go down, it's CSRF token could be being used, yeah. So that one could be being used, but it's one of the authentication ones that is being used to actually keep track of who you are.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone said
Somebody's
company, so
asking.
maybe-
TK Codes is asking, when do we use? How do you guys decide when to use functional component in React? And before Sunny, you jump on it, what I would just wanted to say is, like, what I've picked up from it is, even in Python programming, I try to stick as much to functional programming as I possibly can, just because it keeps the complexity of everything extremely clean. And even with React, I think you should use functional components everywhere rather than class-based components. But Sunny, go ahead.
That's a perfect answer. So yeah, just as Kazi said, like the sort of, a lot of programmers are going towards a functional programming approach, and the reason why is because it's literally a function. When you code in this way, like the component we just made, it's a function which has some kind of input and it returns some stuff, right? And what it returns is the HTML. Now, when you think of everything as a function, it becomes very clear as to what's actually happening. When you have classes, it becomes very sort of extrapolated, and you can't actually see what's going on. Like, what is this class doing? What is a constructor inside of a class? Things
Yeah.
get
Where
very
is
sort
it?
of
Where is it inheriting from? Like it gets very
yeah.
weird.
It gets very sort of like where it gets very abstracted away from you, and it doesn't make sense as to what is actually happening.
Yeah.
And also a big headache that I found, and I'm guaranteed there's going to be 100 other developers who have had this, is where the hell you put this keyword,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, it becomes a headache, and you just don't have to deal with that when you use functional programming
Right.
approaches. So, yeah, so that's the main reason behind why you do need to know both, unfortunately, because a lot of jobs, the code bases would be in class-based components, and then a lot of your job would actually be changing it to a functional component. So you do need to know both, and it's very valuable to know both.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Nice. So now we have a working login system. So what we can do now is we can remember we stored that user inside of the state over here, right? So as soon as you refresh, we actually have that user. And what we can do now is we can change that button that you see, so the sign up button, we can actually change that to, instead of saying sign up, we can say log out. So if we go down here, we can actually add a conditional which says if the user is present, so if the user exists, so if the user is not null, then I want to render this stuff. So if the user exists, I want to render a button which is not going to say this, but it's just going to say sign out, right? So this button is going to be responsible for saying, it's going to be responsible for saying sign out. So, or log out, let's just say log out, yeah? And here we're going to have an or, so this is how you do an or, and then you say, otherwise, if they're not logged in, then a sign up button is going to come up, right? And we're also going to have a login button as well, guys. We'll code that in a sec. But I just want to show something very quickly. So you might have thought, how do we log out? It's going to be quite complicated, and etc. Honestly, guys, this is how simple it is to log out. You say auth dot, I think it's literally a case of log out. Yep, so it's literally auth dot sign out. Yeah, auth dot sign out. That's it. That's literally it, and you do every bit of authentication. Now notice how when Kazi goes on, he's logged in. So if he clicks sign out, log out, boom, he's logged out. You no longer have that element inside of the console, so you won't see it anymore. Which is insane, right?
That's crazy. Yeah. Like just with that one line, I sign out, and it's so easy.
Yeah, and honestly, it's really that simple, guys. So what we're going to do now is create the log in or sign in, right?
Somebody said, Filani says, Node for backend, React for frontend. But honestly, you don't even need Node. You can just use Firebase, right, for pretty much all the backend. You're good.
Yeah, this is something which is really sort of a mindset shift here, is that we don't actually even need a backend here, guys.
Yeah, we don't.
Firebase is doing everything for us. It's just a service that we use, and we're using Node modules to bring it in and actually like interact with it. But there's not a real backend that we're sort of a traditional backend that we're playing with here. No.
Yeah, and this is actually live Harrison.
Yeah. So now we have the app. Let's just call this one the login container. So let's call this a login container, and I'm just going to put the buttons inside of it. So all of this stuff shows when we aren't logged in. So I'm going to have another button here, which is going to say sign in, right? And for this one, I don't want to open the other modal we have. I'm going to create a new sort of variable, and a new modal, which is going to be called, let's call it open sign in. And this is going to be called set open sign in. Oops. It says mine is out of sync, Kazi, with yours. So I'm going to
log back in?
Yeah, so I'm just reconnecting now. Give me one sec. There we go. I think I'm back. So open. Yeah, nice. So I can click that. There we go. We're back. So open sign in. Am I typing now? Oh,
go ahead. Join.
No, I'm not. Okay, so give me one sec. So don't save. Go to app.js. So you can see me now, right?
That's funny. Somebody just said, oh my God, I was week 1 into Node and planning to continue. Yeah, you don't need to learn Node. You can just do this.
You know what? No, I would recommend there's no harm in learning Node because honestly, everything you're going to learn is transferable because it's JavaScript.
Hmm.
But I would recommend, honestly, like as Kazi said, like I would recommend just jumping over to React and start coding with that because you're going to get a result really quickly with React
Yeah.
as opposed to doing Node. Yeah. So we have this set open sign in, and this one we're going to be initially false. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go down to the bottom. Oops, not that. We're going to go down to the bottom. And where I have that traditional button of sign in, here we're going to have set open sign in. So that one's just
Oh, it says
do set
username. Let me fix that. It had two E's.
Oh, oops. There we go. I think you need to follow now again because I've gone out of sync. Yeah. So now we're good. There we go. Nice. So set open sign in. I just changed that here. And this one, we basically, I don't want that to open the other modal we had, right? So you see this entire modal. So we can refactor this code, but for the benefit of this sort of tutorial, I'm just going to paste another modal here.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to sort of change it up just for, and make it just for what we need it here. So I don't need a username because we only need an email and password when we log in, right? I'm going to create a sign
Avi
in.
says the way you guys are dealing with the question from the comments section is just insane. It feels like we're getting a live classroom training session.
Nice. I love that. Honestly, it's like that's what we encourage questions. If anything, it just helps you guys get to know a bit more, and it helps us direct the sort of session towards what everyone actually wants to learn, as opposed to what we think everyone wants to learn.
Yeah.
Nice. So we have that, and then we have sign in. So I need to do two things now. I need to change the modal open to be determined by open sign in, and I need this, so on close, to say set open sign in to be false. So now we've just made a few changes. All of the styling is the same, guys, and you could actually make this a component as well to prevent it having this big code twice, but we're not going to do that now. So I need to create the sign in function. So let's go over here and let's do const sign in. So const sign in equals, and it takes an event and it does this. And then remember, guys, we need to do event.prevent default.
So it doesn't do weird stuff and refresh, right?
Exactly.
Carlos says something important. He says, so in conclusion, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and Firebase is everything we need, right?
Exactly that. Yeah. So that's everything you need. I would recommend you start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then you proceed to learning React, which kind of wraps those three fundamentals. And then Firebase is what's going to power it and give you a sort of a database, allow you to host it online. But that's a really good question. So I think that clears up a lot of sort of doubt for a lot of people.
Yes.
That's all you need. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even me just reading it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's actually true. That's it. No node, nothing. It's very clear.
Yeah. And
awesome.
It's worth pointing out that we do teach all of that inside the course.
In Profit with JavaScript, which is in the description.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to ask you, Sunny, what are we? So we are done working with the Firebase user authentication, right?
Yeah.
So what are we working? What are we currently working on?
So right now we're done with the sign up. I'm just finishing off with the sign in, and we're one step away from being finished with the sign in, and then we'll be moving to actually posting onto the timeline.
Got it. Right? Okay, so I'll leave the title at the top, user authentication, for now. And then once we're done with that, we'll move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now here instead we have auth, but we say sign in with email and password. So it's honestly it's ridiculously simple to use our authentication API. Yeah. So you say you pass in an email, you pass in a password, which is in our state, and I'm just going to drop this to another line so it's quite easy to read. So we're going to do this. And then we're going to say sign in. And remember, it's always good practice to add a catch. So that way, if anything goes wrong, so like if the username was wrong or something like that, we're going to have error. And I'm just going to alert it on the screen and say, show me what the error message is. Right? And what we should do, guys, is after we sign up or after we sign in, we obviously kind of don't want that modal to be open. So we're going to say set open to be false. And here we're going to say set open sign in to be false, because we want the modal to close, right? I want to sort of react.
You want it to close. So the modal that will pop up here, you want it to close once you sign up.
Yep, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. Right. So now, do you remember the email address that you signed in with?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if you click sign in, hopefully, okay, that's good. So now if we type in the email and password, and then boom, look at that. Nice. First time.
Look at that. And
Awesome.
It just went away all by itself.
Yep, because we do conditional rendering, which is awesome. So now we have user authentication, guys. We have full user authentication, and beautiful. We also capture the display name, which we're going to use to be. We're going to use that as a username when we post things, right? So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on Firebase storage, right? So we completed Firebase user authentication. And the next thing we're going to be doing is working on Firebase storage. And why that? Why are we moving to that? Is because now we actually want to have some kind of input at the bottom. Hey, nice.
This is what happens when we finish something.
That's it.
Wait, hold on. I actually want to know if it played the sound for them. I'm gonna take a look at it actually. Sound effects. So let me actually. I think it was on, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's right.
Yeah. I think it went out. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, continue.
To see everyone get lit in the comments. Nice. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is we're moving over to Firebase storage, right? So there was a really handy React component.
So we're gonna be just so what we write at the top. We're gonna be now working on Firebase, like storing posts in Firebase.
Yeah. So storing posts in Firebase, exactly. Storing posts in Firebase. Yeah. So this bit is a bit more intricate. But it really does pay off to know this right now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a sort of we're going to call the component image upload, right? And what image upload is going to be responsible for is it's basically going to allow us. So the end goal right now is to have at the bottom of our page. Well, let's just do it at the top to make things simple right now. Yeah, so it's very clear and visual. So let's go to the top of the page and let's just do what we did before. So we're going to have some comment and we're going to say, I want to have the following, right? So I want to have a caption input. So I want to have some kind of caption input. I want to have a file picker so I can pick an image. And then I want to have a post button, right?
Okay, so just
3 things. Yeah.
Got it. So basically, okay, just so we can visualize it, it's gonna be some kind of like input field, and it's gonna have caption. So okay, I can write my caption here, right? It'll be something like right here. Okay, cool. I can visualize that. Then a file picker is just like how most file pickers are. I just upload my file on it.
Exactly.
Okay, and obviously it's gonna have a post button, like a button next to it to just click it and upload my file.
Yeah, exactly that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is rather than writing all of this code here, it's always nice to sort of strip it outside of this, right? So we're going to create, if you can go ahead and create a file, and we're going to call this one image upload, right?
Okay.
So if you go ahead and create a file, so go into the, and we're going to call it image upload.js. Right.
And do you want it to be capitalized in the start?
Yeah, so I actually capitalized the start and then the second one as well. So upload should be capitalized. Yeah.
Got it. It's a component.
The reason why we capitalize is because all of the anything which you see capitalized in React in terms of files should be referring to a component.
Just so everybody knows visually what we're gonna be working on, Sunny, can you give us like just shoot over a screenshot maybe of like what it actually looks like, just so it's easier, because I know it's hard to imagine what we're going to be building.
I'll
Just
tell you what, if you can, I will actually start the ngrok and I'll send you a thing, so we can do it that way if you want.
awesome. That's perfect. Yeah. Just ngrok
Yeah.
and then just paste the link inside of Visual Studio Code, and I'll pick it up from here.
Oh, nice. Good shout. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's do that. So that's the ngrok.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that should be running, I think. Yeah. So you should be able to see that, and that should be my local right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see that localhost 3000. Yeah, dope. It's there. So
I don't
what
see.
we're gonna want, we want. It's gonna take a little bit of time, I think, to load.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be working. So now,
Damn.
let me double check mine as well.
If you can even send me like a Droplr screenshot of just a caption thing, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Let's do that. So I'll do that instead. My Droplr is not showing up. 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, my Droplr seems to have crashed. Okay, my
Nice.
ngrok. Okay, my ngrok crashed now as well. Oh no.
It's all good. It's here. I can
Yeah.
see it now. Isa said
Okay.
just joined. That's awesome. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
I think they joined. Oh, live stream probably.
Nice.
So let's go all the way to the bottom. Log in to upload. I see. So I got to log in right now. So let me go
Yeah.
and hit this right over here. Um,
There we go.
okay, I'm logged in.
So that exact thing at the bottom is what we want. Yeah.
This is what we're going to be building, by the way, guys. So yeah, that's what we're trying to build right now. So we can actually, this thing right here. So we can upload our files and images.
Yeah, exactly. And that little thing at the top, guys, is a progress bar. So it'll show you the progress.
Right here, this guy over here. So right now it's empty, but then as soon as it starts, like your file starts uploading, it'll be like, burp, burp, and it finishes.
That's it. Exactly.
Awesome.
Nice. That was a really good explanation, actually. We should do that more. Just
Yeah.
break down, yeah.
Yeah, because we start, what happens is like you start, like we can visualize it because we've already created and we start explaining the code. But I think everybody who's
Yeah.
following, it's difficult for them because they don't like visual cue. They don't know what we're going to be building. And so then they're less likely to follow.
Yeah, 100%. 100. I think we'll do that more. And if you guys found that useful, just drop a comment and let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Right, so now in image upload, so I don't know, is it still following me? I think maybe it's detached because we created a file.
Yep, right here.
Yep. So now if I do RFCE with that snippet that we had earlier, it's going to create the image upload. And what we want to do now is in here, I'm just going to draft out the rough things that we spoke about. So inside of app, remember we had this. So I'm going to basically just cut this. And the aim is to basically just render out image upload here. Right, so we can
Render it out. Got it.
yes, we say image upload from image upload.
Does it also handle video upload or no?
So that's a very good question. I think it's a really good question, actually. I think I want to say yes, you can do that.
Okay.
But I haven't tried it.
Got it.
We could maybe go through this at another point, or sort of have a little
We'll make a
tinker
YouTube.
around.
We'll make a YouTube clone one day. You know.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be awesome.
Coding
Mess around with
Fountain
that.
says yes, very helpful.
Nice. I think this is happening because I've passed in an empty div. So if I now do it, yeah, there we go. Cool. So now what we can do is we can basically say, so we render ABC at the top. So right now I'm just going to show it at the top. So it's going to render above everything, right?
Yeah.
And we'll put it where it needs to be afterwards. So the first thing we want to have is an input. So we're going to have an input. There we go. We have an input. We have a file picker. So the file picker, what we want is something like this. So we have an input. Type is file, and that gives you all of the stuff you need. You know that when you see like select file and it comes up in your natively in your browser.
Yeah.
Everything is inside of that, right? So you have that, and we need a function which handles when you actually sort of when you click a file, what happens, right? We need some kind of file for that. And then we also need a button. So I'm going to use Material UI, and I'm going to say this is my button. So I'm going to say the
So
button
basically,
is to
you mean
upload.
when I click choose file, this thing happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you click on open, that will ping off the handle change, right?
Got it.
So we need a few things right now. We need a piece of state to keep track of what we're typing inside of the caption. So here I'm going to say a placeholder is going to just pretty much say placeholder.
Enter a
This is gonna-
caption.
Yep, just going to say enter a caption.
So
dot,
like
dot, dot.
this one right there.
Yep. I love that arrow. So nice. What we can do here is we can say const, and we're just going to set up some states. We're going to say caption, set caption. That's just the standard. We say use state right there, and then the caption by default is going to be empty. So that way it will show the placeholder. And then here we have to do use state. I love that.
It's the most advanced coding tutorial on the planet.
Yeah, I know, right? So we're gonna hook it up to that, and then what we need to do here is I'll check it over here so you can see it. So we're gonna say on change, right? So on change. So as I type in now, it's gonna fire off an event. So every time, that's every single key press that you do onto the input field, it's gonna fire off an event. And then what we want to say is set the caption to e event.
So it's just gonna
event.
keep updating the caption, right? The caption variable on
Exactly.
the fly. I see.
Exactly. Yeah. So that grabs the latest text and it just pops it inside a caption. So we always have the latest caption stored inside of our
Feroz
state.
says, this is my first time watching a coding live stream, and this is an amazing idea.
Awesome. I love it.
Thanks, and let
Love
us
it. It
know
makes
what
it a lot-
specifically. Let us know what specifically you like about it as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just focus on that more next time. Nice.
Yeah.
So we have the caption. We also need a few other things. We need, so we're going to have 3 more pieces of state. We need the image. So
Yeah.
there's one for image that's going to basically be no. So that's going to start off with no. We're going to have one for the URL. So actually, we don't need this one right now. And one for progress. So remember that progress bar that we showed earlier?
So progress bar is right here. We have it right at the. Oh, I'm actually realizing I'm blocking a lot of the view. We are blocking a lot of the view for the people. So I'll just do this. So this I think is very visible for them. So
Yep.
progress bar is going to be this one right there, right?
Nice.
And
Yeah,
then when you
that's the
say image, it will be this, the choose file.
one. Yeah, exactly that.
And
Yeah.
so it's going to be a path, just a string, right, from your local computer. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so exactly. There's a weird sort of syntax, but we just need to know how to write it initially. And once we've done that, it actually makes a lot more sense. So I'm
Got
going to
it.
copy that snippet over here.
And the caption
what
is
we're
right
gonna-
there. Cool.
Yeah. So when we do input type is file, that's when that little window pops up, which says like select a file. And then when we click a file, it fires off handle change. So we need to write a handle change.
Uh-huh.
And the way we do that is handle change fires off a, I've got a snippet here actually, I'll explain it. So handle change is the function, it fires off an event.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, this is the sort of part that we need to focus on. So what this is saying, this little piece of code here is just saying, get the file that you actually selected. So get the first file that you selected, because sometimes you can click multiple files.
I
So we're
see.
saying get the first file, and then we're saying set the image in state to that.
Okay, so like for example, if I hit choose file and I hit somehow I was able to hit both of them, it should pick the first file.
Yeah, exactly. So it just protects against that. So that's why we do that,
Okay.
right? And next, let's just quickly fix these imports, and hopefully we can show that in action. So I'm just going to import the Material UI stuff. So we've got this. Just go ahead and do that. And then we've also got handle upload. So handle upload is a bit more of a complicated thing. So we need to do const handle uploads. I'm just going to write the very simple signature for it. So handle upload, and it's not going to do anything for now. But what we can see now is if we go over to our code, we can see we've got enter a caption, which works when we type it in, right? You see at the top on the right?
Yeah. Oh, right there. Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So you enter a
We've got that
caption,
there.
we see choose file. That's awesome. And upload.
Yeah, and we've got upload. So right now, upload doesn't actually do anything. But if you click on choose file, notice what happens now. So let's click on that, and then you click on a file. Notice how it should say where it said no file chosen before. It will now say, I can't actually see.
Woo!
Does it?
Right here.
Yeah, nice. Oh, that's it. My Skype window was blocking it. There you go. Nice. So now we know that it has a reference to the image that we want to upload, right?
Yep.
So what we want to do now is basically have all of the logic involved in actually, this is the sort of part that takes a lot more of like,
I
a
love
lot
this
sort of like,
part. Feroz is like, I like how this doesn't feel like a lecture and more like a discussion. Bros chatting while doing something informative and something we can learn from.
that's it. That's honestly what we aim for. We want it to be more of a casual sort of code along as
Yeah.
opposed to like, writing notes and stuff like that.
Sunny
it's
and
all
I will
recorded.
spend like, yeah, go ahead, my bad.
No, that's it. I was just gonna say it's all recorded, so like you could take your time afterwards and go at your own pace. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Kazi?
I was just gonna say, like, we code for fun and we'll like code for like 12 hours straight and while joking
Yeah.
around, having fun, making fun of each other. So it's cool that we're like, hey, why don't we just do this live?
Yeah, and honestly, the stuff we've come up with and built is insane. Like, and I think now we're really realizing like we should just be doing this live all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll definitely do it a lot more.
Yeah.
Nice. So we have the handle upload, right?
Yeah.
So the first line of code that I'm going to explain is how we actually push that to Firebase. So so we need to import our storage module. So remember when we set up Firebase config,
Uh-huh.
we set up the storage, and we are going to need the DB in a sec. So we'll come back to that.
So right here, I see we have storage, firebase.storage. And so you are exporting that right
Yeah.
here, and then I have access to it. Yep.
Exactly. Yep. So then we have it there. So now what we're going to do is on handle upload, the line. So what I'm going to do now is actually show you a first piece of code. So this line is the first bit, right? So this line is basically saying get a reference, right? So access the storage in Firebase, get a reference to this folder. So we're creating a new folder here, so called images, and we're storing everything inside of it. Image name is basically the file name that we selected. So whatever that file name is.
Whoops. Okay, hold on. So just to be very clear what this image name is, it's actually that right there.
Exactly that, right? And then we have dot put image. Right?
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're literally putting the image that you grabbed into that point, right? So it's literally that simple. So, but then the next part, this is where this is where the logic comes in. So there's a big snippet of code here that I want to go through. So what we need to do is we say upload task. So upload task, and then we need to basically listen to what's happening now. So the way we do that is we say on, right? And then we do open brackets. And then the first part is we say, so there's a very careful thing that we need to listen to, which is called state changed, right? So we're saying on state changed, give me a snapshot, right? So so as it uploads, remember guys, it's going to take time to upload. So it might take, and even though if it's very quick, that's an asynchronous process. So it doesn't happen immediately. So what we want to do is we actually want to keep track of it so that we can tell the user, how long is it going to take? How long have you got left? Should you go make a cup of tea, or should you just carry on and just wait for a little bit and sort of let it go, right? So this is where we write the progress function. So this is where we have all the progress logic here. So we're saying as it changes, as it gets updated, keep giving me snapshots of the progress, right? And what we want to do here, this is just a piece of code that I've written before, which everyone can just pretty much copy line for line. And what this does here is this like equation right here is going to work out a number between 0 and 100, and it's going to give you the exact sort of like a progress indicator as from 0 to 100. That's all it's going to do here. Yeah, based on how much information has been sent across, and then how much is left, right?
Yep.
And then all we do is we set the progress. So then we set a progress number here from 0 to 100.
So that logic really, that entire piece of, like this piece of code is just for this visual end here?
Yeah, that's all just for the visual element
So
there. But we still,
so if we don't need, okay, but we still don't have the functionality of the upload in yet, right?
yeah, we don't yet, but it's coming inside of this on. So this whole sort of block right here
Uh-huh.
is quite a big block of code that we're going to write now.
Okay, got
So
it.
the first part basically gets you
Visual.
the preference, yeah, the visuals. The second part, so comma, so the second um, sort of argument next is going to be the error. So here you have the error. So if anything went wrong during your upload, this is where you basically complain about it. So this is going to be known as your error function. Yeah, so this is just how the Firebase SDK, the uploading SDK works, right? So here, all I like to do is I like to do a console log and I error it out. Because when you do this sort of stuff, it's typically not a user-friendly message that you show. So we just want to show it in the console as opposed to saying alert and sort of coming up on the screen, right? But in our case, just for now, what we will do is I guess we could just do our error.message because this is more of a demo, so we can just show. But typically, I would just console log it.
Yeah.
Nice. And then the final one is the complete function. So this is when the upload completes, what happens. Right? So this is the final part of the piece of the puzzle. So we have the upload complete function. So this is the final part, which is complete, right? Now here, what we have is we basically need to do all of the logic and all of the sort of complicated stuff that we want to happen once we're done. So here, what we're going to say is, I'm just going to copy a snippet of code. So here we have this block. So we say storage dot go to the ref images. So remember this one at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to ref images, and then we're going to say go to the image name child and get me the download URL. So that's really important right now because think about what just happened, right? It just uploaded that image to Firebase storage. Right? Then in order to sort of get that URL and do something with it, we need to get the download URL that has been like, so once it gets uploaded, it gives us a download URL. So we just need to go and grab it. And that's how we grab it.
So basically, this alone is already doing the uploading. This is just us over here getting it.
Yeah, this is then saying, go and get a link that will allow us to, so go and get a download link now. So it's already uploaded. But go and get me a download link now. So that way we can actually use that in sort of like in some kind of post submission or something like that, you see?
Got it.
So then we say dot then, because everything went well, we say get the URL. And then what we want to say is do some stuff, right? So do some stuff with that URL. And what we like to do here, this is where all of the work comes together, right? We now want to basically post the image inside of the database. So here is where we post the image inside of the database. So here what I do is I say db.collections.add. So I say db.collections.add. And I basically, so here I'm going to add a post item. So remember when Kazi previously was inside the database and he was adding a bunch of things manually, right? And each of those things were the posts that you see on the right. Yeah. So now what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be basically, there's a few things I need to pass in here. So one thing I need to pass in is called a timestamp. And what we want to use here, guys, is a timestamp that is based on the server where our code is living. Because imagine the scenario right now. So why is the timestamp useful? It's going to allow us to sort all the posts by the correct timings. Right now, we haven't implemented any sort of timestamp, but we want to have all of the recent ones come to the top. Right?
Yeah.
So what we want to do now is say Firebase. So Firebase.firestore. So they say basically what I'm writing right now is go and get the exact server timestamp. So go and get the timestamp which is on the server.
So then any image we upload should basically, the newest one should be like at the top, right?
Yeah.
And because we're using server time, we're using the Firebase's time, so it, regardless of where you are in the world, this will get you one unified time.
Exactly. So regardless, because Kazi's in LA right now, I'm in London right now.
Yeah.
His time is going to be different to my time. So if we both use the server timestamp, we're both going to be consistent. If I use my time and he uses his time, we're out of consistency. You see?
Yep.
So that's the first part. And the second part we want to do is the caption. So remember, we actually wrote the caption and we stored it inside of some state. So we can do this caption. The next part is the image URL, right? So remember, the image URL is literally going to be the download URL that we just got hold of, right? So we uploaded it, then we got hold of it here, and then we're just saying use that as your image URL. So it's uploaded to Firebase storage, and then we're literally going to put this inside of the database now. So that, think about what just happened. It uploaded it to Firebase storage,
Yep.
gave us a download link, and then we're pushing that download link as part of a post.
Nice.
Inside of
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Now there's one more part here, right? We need the username. The username, however, we don't actually have at the moment. We don't have it here. We have it inside of app.js. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to app.js. I think you need to follow me again, Kazi.
Uh-huh.
It's yeah. So app.js, and then what we're going to do now is we are going to go over to the point where we have the image upload, and inside of app.js I have the username, right? I have the user, I have their details. So at this point I'm going to go to the user. I'm going to go to the user and I'm going to say, go ahead and get me the user dot. Let me just double check this just to be sure that I'm doing this exactly right.
Yeah.
So let's do ahead an image upload. So at this point, yeah, so we're going to say user dot display name. So remember we updated that with the username that they sort of signed up with, right?
Yeah.
So we're passing this as the username to that component. So now inside of image upload, this is where the props usually comes in. So I don't know. Oh yeah, this is where the props comes in. So what we can do now is if I destructure it here, and I just say, all I need to do here is I need to say username. So username. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And right now, the
Cannot
app
read
seems
property
to be
of display.
freaking out. So cannot read property of display. So we've got user display name. Let me just double check why. Oh yeah. So we actually need to do a careful check here. So right now we don't want to render image uploads. We don't want to render this whole module unless the user's signed in. Because if think about it, we're trying to access a property which might not even be there because they might be logged out, right? So what I need to do is I need to say user.displayname. So user.displayname. And then here, what I can say is either. So if the user.displayname is present, then we can do this. So then we can have it. So then we can render the sort of form to submit something. Or if it's not there, we can basically just put a H3 tag which says, sorry, you need to log in. Sorry, you need to log in to upload.
Ah, so like this app right over here, if I actually log out and I scroll all the way to the bottom, it says log in, which they cannot see right now, so I have to hide ourselves right there. So it actually says log in to upload.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why we need that. But there's one more check we need to do. Initially, even when the app loads, user might be undefined. So there's a very clever thing in JavaScript called optionals. So here you can say optional, and this protects you. So it says, if this is not there, don't freak out and break. It's just saying like only sort of use this, only apply this condition once this is there.
That is so clean. Like normally you have to write try catch for this stuff.
Yeah, so normally you need try catch. Now you've got optional chaining.
Nice.
So now if we click save, we should get now you see. Sorry, you need to log in. So now what I want you to do is firstly let's finish off the logic. So we got image upload. Go back here. You see we pass in the username now, and remember we are destructuring here, guys. So don't miss that part. And then we go back down here and we pass the username in. So now we've got everything we actually need. Well, it looks like we've got everything we need to get this working. And all I need to do at the end of that is I don't want it to be stuck on 100% progress. So I'm going to say set the progress after it's done back to 0. So it kind of informs the user that you're done. Set the caption and set the image to no as well. So we want to kind of reset all the user forms, right?
Ah, got it. So like so basically like once you're done, just set it back to like how it started with like no file name, no caption, and no path.
Exactly.
Got it.
And now what we want to do is the final piece is we want to add the progress indicator. So here, naturally, there is a HTML element called progress. I don't need to have this class name just yet, but we have progress and then we have value, which is just 0 to 100. Max is 100, so that's a good thing to have here. And then, yeah, that's pretty much like the start, I think. So we can actually give this a try, and if we've all done it, if we've done everything right, it should be all good. So we want to sign in.
Nice.
Awesome.
It's there now, right at the top. Boom.
Yep. So now if we enter a caption, so we can style this afterwards, but we can pop that in there and we enter a caption saying whatever we want to do. So yep. And let's click on upload. Hopefully we don't get an error. Oh, look at that. It did it, and then pop, it changed, right? And now
whoa,
we should see
it's right here.
That's right. Awesome, right?
Damn, that was awesome. That actually worked.
Yeah. Now notice how it didn't go to the top, even though it had the correct timestamp.
It's because the other ones don't have timestamps, right?
Yes. So that's one reason. Also, we need to consider that we didn't actually initially sort by timestamp.
We didn't order by. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So what we can do now is what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clear the database because we've got some records in there which don't have timestamps, right?
So don't clear maybe all of them. Just clear those ones, right? So let's clear just those.
Yeah, we can do that. Yep. So let's clear just the ones that don't have timestamps. So this one actually has timestamps. This one has timestamps.
This one does not.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my one. Yeah, we've set this up on yours.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
How
delete the ones that have it.
Is there? Okay. This is.
Yep.
Delete document.
Perfect.
Okay. And actually, let's just look at it live because it'll show up. It'll be deleting it.
Oh yeah.
So let's. This is a Sunny Sango one. So let's delete this one. Boom, gone. And then let's delete this Instagram one.
Yep.
And this is the only one we have with a timestamp.
Exactly. So now what we're going to do is we go over to app.js line 64. So over here. And basically when we basically were grabbing all of the posts to show on the screen, before we do on snapshot, we can literally do order by.
Yeah.
So you can just train it here and you can do order by, and the field that we want to order it by is called timestamp.
The answer to that question, by the way, is yes. It can be scaled up on a much larger scale for many users.
Yeah, so right out of the box, guys, it can support literally 1 million users. So if you once you deploy this and it's up and running, it doesn't matter if you get 10 billion users. Google, you're gonna have Google's capacity.
Damn.
It's crazy, right? Yeah. I mean, you might get billed for it, but you're gonna definitely it's definitely gonna work. So timestamp descending, I think, isn't it? Yeah, we can give that a try. There we go. So now your top ones are going to be the top most recent. So if we upload another picture. And let's upload. And it's uploading. We get a nice little indicator there. And boom, there we go. That's awesome. Kazi, I think you're muted.
It's so nice. That is nice.
Yeah. Nice, right? And you see, guys, that indicator gives you all that sort of reassurance as like something's not broken. You're actually just waiting for it. But if you didn't have that indicator, you'd kind of be freaking out like, oh my God, it's not working or my code's broken.
Yeah.
So it's really an important thing to have. Yeah.
True.
Nice. So that's really clean. So we have our authentication, we have everything sort of set up. Now we kind of just need to do the remainder of the styling, right? Mm-hmm. And sort of get everything in where it needs to be. So and so it looks like the app that we built earlier. So first we're going to style that image upload component because it looks horrible right now. So we're going to go here and get rid of this marker. So remember, guys, marker is actually really good. So I usually just add comments like that to sort of visualize it beforehand, and even get a pen and paper and do it that way, and that will help you out. Because let's go ahead and create an image upload.css file. So image upload.css. Nice. And then you might have to refollow. Yeah. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to import that file so we can start styling. And this is another benefit, guys, to doing component-based work, because you can pretty much just have your CSS isolated to that specific component, which is really handy. So here what we're going to say is we want the div which contains everything. We're going to call that, so let's call it class name. We're going to call it image upload. So image upload. There we go. And basically what I'm going to do is, and just for simplicity, just for now, I'm going to make that lowercase, image upload. And here I'm going to get some styles. So image upload. There we go. So it's very simple how we're going to style this for now. We're basically just going to have, I'm going to go over to our image upload CSS, and I'm going to basically give it a image upload. So image upload. Oops, we kept it lowercase.
And Mario is saying, new to VS Code and trying to get my setup to mirror this. Is this all default syntax highlighting?
Yes. So right now, Kazi's machine, I believe, is all default syntax highlighting. And once you set up a project with Create React App, it's really good at actually setting up your environment with VS Code, I've noticed. So everything should just be out of the box. I mean, I would recommend something called Prettier, which is we're not using at the moment. But Prettier is really, really good to sort of get used to having.
Yeah.
So, and it just means that when you click Save, so you have to update it in Preferences, but if you click Save, it will actually handle all the formatting for you, which is really handy. So here we're going to say display flex, and on the right, as soon as I click save, notice how you're going to see it change. So you see everything went by default into a row. Okay.
Yeah.
So we want it to be inside in a column. So we're going to say flex direction column.
Ooh, look at that, Sonny.
Oh, nice. That's the kind of comments I love.
Yeah. This tutorial is more helpful than paid ones.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is lovely too. Nice. Right. So now what we're going to do is we have flex direction column width of 60%. No, I want to set a width of 60%, sorry, because I don't want it to kind of, you see it right now, it's just going, it's just touching everything on the sides. It looks a bit ugly, right? So we're going to do 60%, and we'll just do it something like this. So you see it doesn't take up everything. And then in order to get it centered in this case, I'm going to do something very simple, and I'm going to say margin left is auto and margin right is auto. So it's going to determine the margins on the side automatically, and that should center the element. Right?
Yeah.
So you get that. So what we're going to do then, just to sort of top that off, is I'm going to add a little bit of a margin on the top and bottom. So margin top, I'm going to say 10 pixels, and margin bottom is going to be 10 pixels as well. So margin bottom is 10 pixels. And now if we check it, we should be able to see. So let's have a look at your one. So let's see. Can you see the app? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we've got it there. So 10 pixels, 10 pixels. So now it's looking a lot better, right? But what we want to do now is actually have that maybe even glued to the bottom. I mean, like, it might look better at the bottom. So what we're going to do now is have it at the bottom. So we're going to have position. So I'm going to say position fixed, right? Fixed. And this is going to basically say it's going to be fixed to the bottom of the page. Or I don't know if I did this previously, actually. We might have done this slightly different, because I think that's going to break the look and feel of it, right? So can you just move the comments? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can see. Okay, nice. So you see it's sort of broken it a little bit, and it's sort of like showing a bit weird now, right?
Yeah,
so
it's still there,
now,
but it's just, yeah, like acting a little funny.
Yeah, so for now what we're going to do is we're going to keep it up at the top, yeah, just for now, just while we sort of finish off the remainder of the styling, because there's a few things that I want to sort of do before we get to that. So if we go to image upload, and let's just have this, firstly let's position it in the correct place.
Yeah.
So let's have it right now. Let's go ahead and move that image upload to where it should be. So it shouldn't be at the top of the page. So for now, let's just kind of put it at the bottom, I guess, for now. So temporarily. Yep. So But that looks a little bit better now. So we have it at the bottom of the page,
Yeah.
right? So if you scroll down,
On my code or on the... Oh, yeah, right
yeah,
there.
no,
Oh, it's
that's
looking nice,
yeah,
actually. It's looking much better.
yeah. So that looks much cleaner now, right? And even the progress bar, we can sort of fix that. So let's add a
Here,
bit of
we have
styling.
to move our screen.
Yeah. So now what we need to do is we go over to where's progress gone? Image upload here. So here we say class name. Let's just give this a quick sort of image upload progress. And then here inside of image upload CSS, I'm just going to say go and target that and give the width of the progress bar to be 100% inside of its container. So that should then stretch the, so if we go back to the bottom of the page, you should be able to see
I
that
just
stretched
moved this
out.
out of the way so we don't get in the way.
Oh, nice. Nice. So what we'll do now is actually we can keep it there for now, to be honest. It's quite clean down at the bottom. And what we can say is background color, and give it background color of white, and give it a border top of 1 pixel solid gray. So it fits in really nicely to our theme. So light gray. So now if you check it out, you should be able to see. Okay, so it hasn't actually done it as I wanted it. We wanted to have width of 60%. Okay, we can change it afterwards. We can finish that styling in a sec. Let's go ahead now and go to the top of the page. So you see where we have sign up and sign in, right?
Yes.
Doesn't look the cleanest, right? It looks a bit sort of weird at the
All the
moment.
way where? Here?
So at the
Sign in
moment-
and sign
yeah,
up?
at the top.
So what are we trying
Yeah.
to do? We want to move this from here and move it like here in the header?
Exactly. We don't want it where it is at the moment. We just want it inside the header, right? So at the moment, we have this cool piece of code over here called app header. And what we want to do is basically have these login, logout buttons. Just I'm going to cut it and I'm going to put it inside the header. But as you can imagine, this is going to cause some weird behavior because it's not we haven't styled it. We haven't sort of prepared for that. So now let's have a look. And you see it just jumped to the bottom of that, yeah? But the surrounding container is called app header. So the surrounding container is called app header. So now with Flexbox, what we can do is we can go here and we can say display flex. That's the first step. And if you notice now, it will go into a row.
Nice. Right there, it's in a row.
Yeah, which is really nice. And then what we can say is we can say justify content space between, right? So we can space all the elements inside there between.
Yeah.
Right, which is already looking much cleaner, right?
Yep.
The Instagram logo actually stretched a little bit, and let's double check why. So if we go to the header image,
Yeah.
what we can do here is we can say header image,
And then
we can say,
object, that object contain thing.
exactly,
Object fit.
object fit contain. And
Nice.
now if we save that, you
Ah,
can see it. There we
beautiful.
go. Yeah, so that's already looking really clean. Like that's actually looking really nice, and everything's sort of slick. We can actually at this
Are
point,
we, by the way,
remember
are we done styling the image uploader?
we can update it. We can yeah, we can change it for sure. Like we can.
No, but
have
are
it
we done
floating.
for now styling it?
Yeah, we are. So you can. Take that off. Hey, there we go.
Dude, you can't.
Nice.
We have to celebrate each thing we complete.
Yeah.
You know? We can't just go on to
That's
the
the
next.
problem with developer mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, you're too hard on yourself, bro.
That was dope. Nice.
All right, what's the
So
next
now
thing
I
that we're
guess-
working on right now?
So now I guess we're styling a little bit. We're styling the web page a little bit.
Okay.
So just styling at the moment. Yeah,
Okay.
styling on web page. So at this point, what we're going to do is we can get rid of where it says, hello, clever programs, let's build an Instagram clone with React. Because it's like a sore thumb, right, at the moment. So we can get rid of that. And we can check it and we save that.
Here is one
now-
good question, though. Rank says, so I'm a
Yeah.
bit late, but realized you guys created an authentication system with email and password. However, Instagram allows you to log in with username as well. Can we do that here?
Yes, so you can do that here.
Uh-huh.
I think you can. There's a custom way you can do it, so you can actually do any sort of authentication through Firebase.
Yeah.
But we're using the default ones, and what I would recommend maybe in the next video or something, we do some kind of authentication.
The hacky way
Yeah.
to do it in this case would just be to map the username and password, username and email to each other. So then when they
Yeah.
type in that specific username, it actually just replaces it secretly with their email and sends that email. You see what I'm saying, Sunny?
Yeah, yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
But I
we could
mean, we
definitely
don't.
do that. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So,
yeah,
but
that's a cool way of doing it.
okay.
Yeah, we could do it that way. There's a guy when it comes to this stuff, there's a lot of ways to do all of this.
Yeah.
So I would say there's many ways to get it right in some sense. Like you could have, but I would recommend like the reason why they sort of have an email and password approach is because those ones with just username passwords, you have to check a few things with. Whereas in email, say for example, your user forgot their email address, right? Or no, forgot their password. Then it's going to be a case of having how do you send them a reset password email, etc. So
True.
that's why they sort of implemented it like that.
Okay.
But yeah, for sure you can definitely have it if you want to.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's just keep styling it, and then what's next? Will we just host it?
Yeah, so we're going to style it, we're going to host it, and then we could even show how we added that quick Instagram embed, and then we can host it. And I think that shouldn't take too long now. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. So let's go to app posts. So we push this inside of here. So I've just surrounded these posts that we have right here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of padding here. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go ahead and do app posts, and I'm going to say padding. Let's just give it a 20 pixel padding and see how that looks. So if we go ahead and do that, you see that it already looks much nicer.
Take it away, just so we can visual. Oh, give me 1 second. So it's basically right over here, right? It's adding that like padding right there in between each post.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
if I take it away,
ooh,
boom.
yeah, everything is too tight. Nice.
Yeah.
That looks a
Whereas
lot
that gives us
cleaner.
a nice, clean, sort of slick UI. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I want to do is essentially so previously in the demo that we showed, we had this really nice, slick looking sort of Instagram embed, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually a very quick thing that we can add to this project.
So it's so just so everybody knows what we're talking about.
yeah.
We're talking about this specifically on the right hand side, right? The Instagram embed right there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh. So it's yeah, right. This is what we're trying to build right now.
So what we want to do is type in Instagram. Oh man.
What? I'm sorry.
Okay, so what we need to do now is Kazi, if you if you head over to type in React Instagram embed. So React Instagram embed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah. And we need to install that into the project.
All right, so right here, paste.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the bottom of the page, it's really simple, by the way, to do this, guys. So all you need to do is go to the top of app.js, do an import. So we have this import, and then all we need to do is actually just pop there. So that right now, what I'm about to paste is just on the. They actually have some demo code on that page. So I'm going to go to the bottom, and I kind of want it to come. Oh god, it's hard to keep that in Instagram embed, and we're gonna have that next to the posts. So over here, so right here we'll have div. Oh, I should be able to just pop it in here. So there. And with that said, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop in an Instagram thing over there. So let's go ahead and click on something. 1 second. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go ahead and grab this. So this is a picture from my Instagram. And now what we do is if we save and refresh, so let's go back to our React app. So, Kazi,
Am I following you?
Yeah, no. Now you are. If you go to the React app on the right, so go to the running one. Yep. So now if you make it a bit bigger, so make it a bit bigger, and I think it might have rendered at the bottom of the page. So if you go to the bottom, if you refresh, okay, so you need to do npm start. So I'll do an npm start. So when we installed it, we actually cut the terminal. So we had to do npm start again, and that should get it running again in a second. And what we're doing here, guys, is we're pulling in some code someone else has wrote for an Instagram embed, and we're just pulling it into our web page. So if you scroll down a bit more, are you muted, Kazi? Oh man. Okay, I think your mic's off. If you go to the, so you see, guys, it's popped up at the bottom. So that's actually an Instagram post. So you just you just need to go up a little bit. I think you're muted, Kazi.
I thought I was following you.
Yeah. So right now, if you go to the right, so the actual React app,
Yeah.
and then swipe up a little bit.
This app.
Yeah. So what we want to do here, guys, right now, what's happening is, because we have the app posts over here, and then we have the Instagram embed, it's coming underneath it. And we don't really want that to actually be the case. Instead, what I want is, I actually wanted it to come up next to it on the right. So I'm just going to check something now. We've got app posts. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop this into the app posts. And then I'm going to basically wrap. So I'm going to create two divs, right? I'm going to say one is app posts left. So this is going to be responsible for all the stuff on the left. And I'm going to chuck this in here. And we just indent. So if you have Prettier, guys, this isn't an issue. You actually just save and it handles this for you. Then we'll say div app posts right.
Separating it out into different divs because you want the embed to be on the other side and then all of our posts to be on one side.
Exactly. Yep. So we're going to use some Flexbox rules, but you have to put the children. So now we're wrapping all the posts into one child. So it's on the left, and then all of the Instagram embed on the right. And the way we do that now is I basically go ahead and let me just check some rules real quick. So now I need to basically go and update some CSS. So I go to my app posts, and you see right now I just have this, right? So right now we haven't got anything working as we want it. So instead, I just need to do display.
So just
flex.
all in one place, like one
Yeah.
straight. There we go. Okay, yeah, now it's showing up.
So now I did display flex, and that's fixed that. And then the second thing I need to do is, by default, it put in a row. So it put the two children in a row, right? Which is really clean. Like, look at that, guys. It's really responsive. Everything works like we want it to.
Right.
But I want to do justify content center. So now, if you make it a little bit bigger, Kazi.
Code or the app?
The app.
Okay.
Make it a little bit bigger, and look what happens, guys. So, oh right, sorry, I done center, right? So if I do, actually that's pretty clean.
That actually, yeah, that looks pretty clean actually. Because like now, so even if I'm full screen, it shows up right here.
That's really clean actually, yeah. So what we could do then is we could just go ahead and target the right element, so the post right, and just give it a slight margin left of like, let's just say like 20 pixels, right? Or even less, maybe 10. And now you'll see, you see it's got a little gap. So I think it needs a little bit of a bigger gap. So you see on the app now?
Yep.
Yep, we've got that little gap.
Yeah.
Right.
This little gap right here that, oh, whoops. This little gap right here that wasn't there.
Yeah, so that's super clean right now, right? We have a really, really nice UI. Everything's fully responsive and it works as we want it to. So we actually have the image uploads at the bottom. So let's just have a look at this now. So we've got everything we kind of had initially. The one thing we did want is that we wanted it to be a case of that when you're
Wait,
signed
hold
in.
on. We forgot about putting comments.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
We
Damn
gotta
it.
we gotta
Yeah,
add comments.
yeah. So right now, let's go to our post, and yeah. So what we need to do now to get that working is we go over to our post.
Oh, this is
And
actually really key. Yomna says Firebase is a service that allows you to create apps without needing a server.
exactly, yeah, exactly that.
That's actually a really good way of putting
That's
it.
a really concise way of putting it, yeah, and that's honestly exactly what it is, and it also allows you to do, yeah. So you create apps without needing a server. Yeah, I couldn't have put it better. That's really nice. Yeah,
It's a
and it also
weird.
gives you a bunch. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it gives you a bunch of extra plugins that you can do, like machine learning. You can do a bunch of stuff using Firebase, which is really cool.
Hmm.
hmm So what we're going to do now is quickly add the comments. So let's go ahead over to our function. So here I'm going to add a piece of state to keep track of them. So we're going to have a comments to keep track of it. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a use effect, right? Which is going to be used to populate the comments. So what we're going to do now is this is a snippet of code that I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to say, actually, so we need to do two things right now. We need to basically, firstly, have the, in order to have comments on a specific post, we need to have the individual post's ID. So that way we know which post we're actually looking at, right? So right now we pass in a key. What I want to do is I want to pass in a post ID as well, because you shouldn't actually reference the key as a prop.
Because what
So
you're
here,
trying to do is you want to be able to get the specific ID for a post and then add a comment to that.
exactly. So can you see on the right? It's a good thing you've got this up. So every single document, which is a post, we're actually going to internally have another collection on the right. So can you see the collection, start collection on the right? On the right, yeah. So there we have start collection on the right. And I think, yeah, start collection on the right. And then what we're going to do there is inside of there we're going to have a collection called comments, right? So in there we're going to have a collection called comments. And now what that's going to do is we're basically going to say, so click on that and click on comments. And what we're going to do here is, so we passed in a post ID. So yeah, so here we're going to have two things. We're going to have text and a username, right? So
Side of the
here's
post. This is a collection inside of the post.
yeah.
Oh, nice. That's a clean way of doing it. So, and it's like all relationally connected, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're actually
sweet.
just
Okay.
we're just gonna store strings as the sort of username, etc. But
So if I do
you
comments,
could
hit next.
yeah,
Okay.
do that, and then type in. So let's just add one. So we'll say I actually have it different. I have text on one of them and username for the other one. So do filled text, and then the other one do username. Nice. And then let's just do Clever Kazi. Yeah. And there we go. So that we have a collection of comments inside of it. So you can see it's actually really easy to interpret about like how you store information here, which is really clean, right? This is the coolest tutorial I've ever seen in our life. That's it. That's exactly what we aim for, guys. That's exactly what we want to hear.
Awesome. Just keep going.
Nice. So now we have so we have the post ID. So let's go back to image upload. And no, sorry, not image upload, post. Yep. And then here what we want to do is we pass through the post ID because that was a prop. And what we want to do here is basically have, so upon loading, I need to have a use effect, right? So I need to have a use effect. And what I'm going to have inside that use effect, I'll explain here. So I'm pasting a code. And here I have, so firstly I'm saying, so ignore this top line for a second. I'm saying if a post ID was passed through, right? Then I'm saying unsubscribe. So remember that thing what we did before? Unsubscribe, so const unsubscribe. Yeah. Equals db, and we're accessing the posts collection. Then we're going to that post ID document. We're going inside of its collections, inside of its comments collection. And then we're saying, go get a snapshot listener for that.
Snapshot listener for comments.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it. Okay. So anytime
Yeah.
basically there is, so just so we can visually show this a little bit. Um,
Yep.
so basically anytime there is a new comment added, where are posts? So if I go inside of posts and we see, so anytime there's a new comment added to to a specific post.
Yep.
Got it. So it's a
Exactly.
it's a listener for this one specific post. We're not necessarily listening to every single post. Listening to this specific post and all the comment changes within it.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's
Nice.
quite a powerful listener right now. Like it's actually like a nested listener,
Yeah,
right?
that's a nested, exactly. That's what I was looking at. That's a nested, because then that's what allows you the ability to like not refresh or listen to the whole page. You can actually listen to the specific places.
Yeah. So can you guys see how like React hooks and like this sort of whole fundamental like state value and property that we use connected with Firebase is just insane. Like the relationship between these two things, they're just like they're made to be together, but there's just not many tutorials on using it at all. Like I honestly can't see it. The best programming video ever. Wow, dude. That makes me so happy. That's awesome. I think you're muted, Kazi.
Oh no, I didn't say anything.
Oh. Yeah.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
So
Yeah.
return, so unsubscribe, and then what we're going to do is we need to remember every time we use some kind of like variable inside there, we need to include it as a dependency. Yep. So that way, if that variable changes, it refires this, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically going to go ahead and fetch some comments. Now we need to basically make it look quite nice, right? So we need to do a few things now, and we need to basically go ahead and add. So let me go bring up the app so I can see it. Nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and add a comment field. So the way I like to do it is I pretty much have it looking like this. So I have a form. So underneath, why is this gone out of sync? So underneath here.
What are you working
So
on right now? Just so everybody can be on the same page.
yeah, so let's add it to that little text banner thing. So what we're doing right now is adding support for entering comments.
What do you,
Yeah, adding.
yeah, add.
Oh yeah, we've already got it. Yeah,
Yeah, I've
add
had
comments
that.
to
I've had that. Okay. So yeah, we're
okay.
working on adding comments to the Instagram post, right?
Yeah, exactly. So firstly, we need to import use state so it's not broken. So use state.
Yep.
There we go. And then what we're going to do
Use
is
effect as well.
Yep, and then DB as well. So we were using the DB, so we need to do import DB from / Firebase, and there we go. Nice. Yep. So now we've got this, and what we need to do now is we go underneath where we have the caption, and I'm basically just going to put a form here. So I'm going to add a form, right? So I'm going to just break it down. So I'm going to say the form. So we're going to have a form. Inside that form, I'm going to have two inputs. I'm going to have one input, which is the input that we have that the user is going to be able to write inside of, right? This is going to have a class name of just post input. It's going to have a type of text, placeholder, add a comment. The value is going to be comment. We need to create a piece of state right now to keep track of the individual comment that you're putting in, right? So it's singular because we're talking about the comment that they've just typed in. So comment, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we say set comment. And here we just do use state. And initially that value is blank, so it will show the placeholder. And then here at the bottom, we then have this right here. So on change, it's basically just going to update that state as we type in. So if we save this now, we should see at the underneath right now, we see
nice.
we see add a comment. Now what I want to have is I want to have a button which says post, right?
Yeah.
So I want to have a button which says post. Now, so I'm going to add this button. This is going to have a class name of post button, so BEM naming, and this is going to be disabled if there is no comment, right? So we're going to disable it. And then on click, we're going to run a function called post comment, right? So this is very sort of like similar to what we've done before. So we're just adding a button here, but when we click it, I want to fire off a function called post comment. So I'm going to write that function so it doesn't error out. So post comment.
And that function is going to be able to basically submit your comment in the database to that specific post.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly that. Yep. So now if we open up React, we should be able to see. Yep. We should be able to see that we've got a post, right?
Nice.
So
Okay.
everything looks quite nice. It's starting to come together. What we want to do now is also add a class name to form. So this one. And we can actually start making this look pretty nice. So the first step we want to do in styling this post.css is actually have it so that it takes up the full width of the comment box, right? So in order to do that, and to do that very easily, we just go ahead into post.css and we do this. We say post comment box, so comment box, and we do this display flex, and I'm going to give it a slight margin so that it's not too close to the top, right? And then what we need to do is, remember we added two different classes, post input and post button, right? So these two, post input and post button.
Yeah.
Now in Flexbox, whenever we have two children inside of a container, what we can do is we can say post, if we give each one a flex value, what we're essentially saying is we're setting the precedent for how much space each one can take up. So we're saying the input should take up most of the room. And in this case, we're going to say the button should take up as little room as it can, because that's how we see it in Instagram, right? So now if I do that,
Oh,
can you see
I
that?
see. Nice. So this 1 takes priority, and this 0 is like, I'll take as little room as I possibly can.
Exactly. And then what I want to do is for the input, I'm going to get rid of the border, and I'm going to add 10 pixels padding.
Nice. That looks cleaner.
Yeah, that looks clean. And then in Instagram, they actually do keep a top border, so I could do this, and I could basically do it like this,
Nice.
right? And then on the button, what we want to do is we want to get rid of all of the borders except for the top. So I'm going to add these 2 lines of code. So I've just added those 2. So now we should only see the border like that. You see that? Looks really nice.
Yeah.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of the button to be whatever they have on Instagram. So I found the blue earlier on, and I'm just going to pop that in now.
Where
Yeah,
are you?
so,
I don't think it's following you now. Okay, I see.
so I was at the bottom, yeah. So if you follow, I think.
It's following you now, I think.
Oh yeah, nice. So yeah, now it is. So now I just added that, so you can see there's a slight blue right in post
Yeah.
now, which is nice. And so what we've
Oh,
actually
right
just
there.
done,
Yeah.
we've styled it all, yeah. We've styled it all nicely and everything works. So now what we need to do is actually post the comment, right? So the first thing before we do the posting the comment, I actually want to list out the comments that are currently there, because right now we can't actually see. Remember, you did add a comment, but we can't see it, right? So the comment goes between this gap here, and we're going to do this. We're going to say post. So I'm just basically going to put this here. So I'm going to say div. Oh, oops, why have I done that? I don't need these 2. Yeah, so go ahead and do this, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this closer. So we've got div, post comments, and also here. So we've got the post comments, and right now what I'm saying is I'm mapping through each comment, and I'm just popping out a p tag, and it's going to have, so this should actually be strong, because strong is the better one to use. Oops, strong. And all we're doing here is we're getting do you remember the fields inside the DB was username and text?
Yeah.
So it should say the username in bold, and then it'll have the text next to them. But we're just mapping through everything, and we're getting that comment and doing, yeah?
Like this
So
comment
now,
over here, text and username.
exactly that, yeah. And now if we go back, we should see, if you scroll down.
Oh, nice.
Look at that, yeah? So we just need to fix a little bit of styling now. So if we go to post.css, and we check out, I believe, I just need to add a little bit of padding, I think, that's it. So if I go here and I do padding of 20 pixels, then I think it might have done it. So I think 10 pixels might be enough. We can have a look. So 10 pixels. Okay, so we did 20. Yep, so 20.
Yeah.
Boom, there we go.
Woo!
Nice, right?
That is
So,
clean.
what I need to do now is actually add in the ability to post, right? So the way we do that is we go over here, and I need to do event.prevent default. So I'm just going to do event.prevent default. So event.prevent default. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the database. So the route that I need to get into is this one. So it's going to be db.collection posts. I'm going to go
Right.
to the
So
document,
post
to
is
the
gonna
post
get you
ID.
into here. Then
Yep.
you want to get into specific like post, and then
Yep.
you want to get into comments, and then you want to post your comment.
Yep.
Got it.
Exactly. Yeah. So then we go ahead and we just need to add, right?
Yep.
So, oh, no, no. So we just need to do dot add. And then what we do here is we say we just need to add in the key, the field, the key value pair. So the first one is text, and we're going to say text is going to be what was inside of the comment state, and username was basically, so this again we come to a point where we need to think about what's happening here. So the
Yeah.
username previously we passed in here, right?
Yeah.
But I need to basically, when I'm pushing, I don't need to get the post username. I need to get the user who signed in,
Yep.
right? So what we need to do here is we need to go to app, and remember we store the user who signed in inside of user, right?
Yeah.
So I go down and I go over to the what is it? The post? Yeah, here, post, right? And
Yep.
I need to pass in the user. So I pass the user through here. Okay?
Yep.
And
Is
now what
it
we're doing is we're passing the signed in user. So we pass in the signed in user as well.
nice?
Because this is the username of the person who wrote the post, and this is the user who signed in.
Yeah.
Right? And now here what I need to do is I say user.displayName to get their display name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then after that, what I do is I say set comment, and then I just do like squiggly brackets. So it's going to basically clear the box. So it looks like, like when you enter something, it just clears, right?
Yep. Exactly.
So with that said, so right now we're not actually, we could upgrade this 1 second. We could do timestamp. We do timestamp, and then here we could do Firebase dot firestore dot
Nice.
build
Nice. 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 Nice.
dot server.
Because that's one thing we didn't have before, and then we can even then order it by comments.
Exactly.
Right? Nice.
So here we do order by timestamp. I think we might need to get rid of that one comment that we did. And then I think we have the most recent ones at the top, or maybe at the bottom, or either way we can mess around with that. Yeah. So Firebase is not defined. So here we go, import Firebase
From Firebase.
Yeah, because that's from the actual dependency. Yeah. Dope. And now if you go down, you should be able to see like, okay, so it's not showing the one that we had because right now that didn't have a timestamp. So I think we actually need to go ahead and remove that one from the DB because it's breaking, because it's trying to sort it and it can't find the timestamp.
Remove. Oh yeah. The one we had. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. So let's delete that one, and then let's just push some new comments in with timestamps.
Manually.
Yeah. No. So now
Right.
now it's all hooked up. So now we can actually use the app.
Yeah.
So let's go over to React, and let's just type in. So, are you signed in, by the way?
I don't know yet.
Okay, so yeah, so you're not signed in at the moment. So we need to protect against that exact issue.
Okay. Let me sign in.
Right now, yeah, test123@gmail.com. Nice. And now you're signed in. So you say, hey, this is an amazing post. Awesome. Let's just,
Ooh, that is a clean
Hey.
experience.
nice, right?
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay. Love that.
Right. So that's awesome, and that's working. And the reason why it says test guys is because that was his username when we signed up with that account.
Yeah. Let me actually sign up. All right.
Prick Chit said Sunny Sango Vesta. Thank you very much. Nice.
Wow, I love how without even like click sign in, then I click register, then I fully registered, then I
Yeah.
came in and I comment. Not only did I not have to deal with going to multiple different pages and like rerouting and redirection, but like everything happened without even a refresh. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, it's insane, right? And it's just
Yeah.
it's such a clean user experience. It's going to be really nice. There's going to be no headache.
It's an awesome
Uh,
experience.
yeah, and it's all real time, so like it's the best experience that they could possibly get on the user side.
Yeah.
So awesome. So that works really nice. So we have comments now. Um, I guess the next step is we could do that little trick where we showed the animation, or what do you think?
What animation?
For on the tutorial. Oh no, so we actually don't have the avatar showing in the top, and right now you see the header doesn't follow us down.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So if we go over to app.css, that's a short little hack to get that working. So I think you have to follow me again. Yep. So we go to app.css. So where we go to app__ header.
Hold on.
So again, this is a
It's not. It's for some reason. You're in apps.css right now?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh right, sorry, I was in the wrong. I was in a different code. Yep. So this one. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. App header, right?
Yeah.
So right now, what we need to do is so the header, the one that says Instagram and log out.
Yeah.
That one, if we do something called position sticky, right? And then we say top 0. And what it's going to do, it's going to stick to the top. So now if we refresh and we check this out, I don't think we need to even refresh. So if you go down, look at that. That's really clean, right?
What is it? Is it working?
Can you see that the header is actually sticking to the top?
Oh, the header. The header. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is there. That is clean. Okay, that's what we were talking about. Cool. Now the header, yeah,
But you
moves.
can see some of the elements are kind of overlapping it as you scroll. So the little avatar with R, that's
Yeah.
overlapping it. So to get around that, we just do a Z index of 1,
Yeah.
and that will fix it. Yeah.
Fix what?
Wow. Someone goes, Filani said, can't believe I've been here for more than 3 hours. Awesome. Watched it all the way through. Nice.
That's awesome. Thank you for being with us, Filani. Appreciate you.
Thank you. That's amazing. Oh yeah, so Craft and Robert reminded us, guys, fix the add a comment bug when you're not logged in. That's really good. So right now, what we actually do is we don't actually account for when you're not logged in, which is why that error came up. That's really good that someone pointed that out. Nice.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and go to, so what we did in the previous build was we said, if there was no user, we only show this comment box if you're logged in. So we say user and we basically do it like this. So I grab this and I just chuck it in here, and then basically I make this indented like this. Okay, there we go. It's fine. And then basically now what we're going to do is, if you're logged out, so notice how he's got the comments. He can comment right now, but as soon as you click log out, what happens to the comment boxes?
Oh, nice. They're gone.
Yeah, they're completely gone, right?
Damn.
Which is awesome. And I think we're also doing that for the image upload. We also say on the image upload, I don't think we've styled that properly yet, but if you go down, it should say, yeah, so right now it says need to log in to upload.
Nice.
Okay, awesome. So I guess, right, so what's the next step should we do?
I think at this point we're ready to push it to Firebase.
Yeah, let's do it. So now what we want to do is, and also guys, just a quick reminder. So if you go ahead and click the little right, so you see like when we pulled in that code for the Instagram embed, it actually gives us a playable video, and you can actually click on the story icon on the
Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah, and all of that's functional and it's working. So everything actually works when you do that. So here we've got some people reshooting stories of everything that we done yesterday. So that's pretty cool. And everything works, guys. And that's really nice because you don't actually have to write that manually, which is awesome. You have a
Lit.
Nice. So let's head back.
I love. Wait, hold on. This guy turns the camera around, and that's I love that.
That's awesome, guys. If you guys do that, we love seeing that because it kind of just gives us. We can sometimes see like 100 people, 300 people watching, but when you do that, it suddenly becomes real.
Yeah, up
Like, and we're
until
like,
then,
oh,
it's just like it's not real. It's just like numbers, and we don't know. Like, I mean, it's cool. We see your comments and we engage with you, but it's still not. It's just text message with your avatar next to it, and that's kind of it. But like when you guys
yeah,
actually send a video on Instagram or whatever, that's what makes it like actually real.
exactly, exactly. Nice. So the next step, I guess, is let's deploy it. Yeah, let's get this thing up in the air. Like,
Okay.
so right
So
now,
let's
what we want.
let's actually write that.
Oh yeah.
So working on deploying our Instagram app. Okay.
Nice. Right.
Dope.
Awesome. So this is actually much easier than we would think, and it's a really sort of, again, it's just crazy powerful how this works. Nice. I like that. Awesome.
Whoa.
Final step. Nice. So now what we're going to do is let's head over to your terminal, Kazi. So if you open up a second terminal, it might be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could stop the app. I mean, it doesn't really make too much difference.
Okay. So let me open
I
up.
always notice when we rebuild these apps, we actually do it cleaner in the actual tutorial. It looks really clean right now.
Yeah, we do it better live because the pressure is on, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's really nice how it turned out. Awesome. So now we've got the terminal open. So what we need to do now, guys, is if you're doing this fresh, you need to do Firebase login.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should demonstrate that maybe. So Firebase log out first. So I think you're already logged in right now. So yeah, so we'll just log out, and this would be where you guys are at. So when we've initially set everything up, you would have seen that there was a point where we had to do we had to install Firebase tools globally. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have to do that in order to do this next step, and then you want to do Firebase login. Yep, and you just want to press Y, and then it will pop up as a browser. Nice, awesome, and there you go. It'll redirect and it'll log in. So the next step is doing Firebase init. Right. And here what we do is a nice CLI pops up. So we just need to go down with the arrow keys and press space on hosting. And this bit, guys, you have to pay really close attention to. So click on use an existing project and go to Instagram clone. And here is the important part, guys. So this part, you have to type in build, right? This is a React step. Nice. This is a React step that you can't mess this one up. It has to be build. Otherwise, you're going to run into a bunch of headache. So this has to be build. And then let's hit enter. And then the next question here, you want to click on Y. So yes, because we are configuring a single page app. React is a single page app.
Yep. And yeah, we're pretty much done with everything, guys, and we're just moving. This is our final step. So just to reiterate, we have done everything in this app already. The ability to add comments, upload images, the styling, the header, the sticky header, all of that is done. User authentication is also done. We're just on the final step to deploy this app. So here's one for you guys.
Hey, that's it. Nice.
Let's keep it
And
moving.
whoever stuck it out, guys, we appreciate it. That was a real nice little session we had there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's it. So we initialized everything there. And now what we want to do is there's two steps we need to do, right? So if we write npm run build, that's the first step we have to do. And what this is going to do, guys, is when we run React, is that right? What's that? So package
I think
JSON.
it's
So,
I gotta be in Instagram clone.
yeah, that's right.
Do I have to do the
Oh,
whole build? I
okay.
have to do the whole build again, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that again. Yeah,
Should
so
I
make sure
delete-
you
Should I delete the build?
no, wait, I don't think it would have created it yet.
It has created it. It's
has it?
out. It's outside here.
Oh, right, yeah, it's created an empty one. Yeah, we can delete that.
Uh-huh.
And even see outside Firebase RC, leave the git ignore, but Firebase JSON maybe. Yeah.
Remove the Firebase
It
JSON.
won't, it won't break anything for now, though. It won't break anything for now.
So remove this.
No, you don't need to worry about that for now.
Okay, cool.
Let's just cd into the folder, and then we just restart the process, and it'll find the one that we're talking about. Yeah, so we do Firebase init. Awesome. And we just do those steps again. So we go down to hosting. Yep. And let's do that. And then we say build for this step. And then we say, while you do that, someone says one of the best tutorial best programmers. Cheers to you guys. Thank you very much, Michael Gergs. Awesome. Yep. So now we're in the npm run build. And guys, what this does is it essentially just bundles the app in the most efficient way. So it's going to strip out all of the hot reloading, all of those sort of extra things that we don't need in the production version. So that way it's very fast, it's very lightweight, and it pushes all of that inside build. I don't think that's the one, Kazi. I think it's inside Instagram clone.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I deleted that one. Didn't I?
If you click the little refresh button on the right, you see that top right?
Huh,
Yeah.
still there. Weird. There we go.
So there you go. Everything got built into that one, right?
Yep, right here.
And that's it. And you have to do that first, guys. Otherwise, and even if you change things, you have to do that. So next, what you want to do is you want to run Firebase deploy.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Awesome. Thank you, Sergeant. Mine, the real name's actually Sergeant. Also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, SAAJAN.
That's funny, dude. All right, are we doing this or what?
Yep, let's do it, bro. This is the main sort of finale.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. Specified public directory build does not exist. Okay, so in that case, let's delete the
JSON.
The Firebase RC. Yeah, delete those ones because it's looking at them, I'm assuming.
Firebase RC as well?
Yeah, let's delete that. Yeah, and now try it. Could not locate Firebase. So if you go into source. Yep, source.
Oh,
I think what it's done here is because we weren't in the correct thing. So do Firebase init again now.
Yeah, I think it didn't add it in the right place.
Yeah, I think it went to the previous place.
Right.
So hosting. There we go. Instagram clone. Nice. Build.
Override it, yes.
Yep. And now.
Now we got the Firebase. We got the.
Yeah,
we got everything here.
So if you guys do run into that issue, don't freak out and panic. Just literally go through the same steps because I guarantee some people watching it will actually run into that. Yeah.
Yep. So these pads got messed up, like this and this, and
yeah,
even probably this got messed up.
Yeah. So now what we need to do is literally Firebase deploy, and what it will do, guys, is it literally takes that build folder, the one that we just prepared, and you see it says found 18 files, and guys, it just deployed. Like, it was that quick.
Holy crap! I am.
Hey, that's it. All that hard work, and it's literally just been deployed. So let's double check. Oh, okay. So maybe that's strange. That's the first time we've seen that. Okay, so let's do. That means that we didn't do our build properly. So let's go ahead and do npm run build.
Oh yeah, maybe we didn't run. Yeah, I don't think we did the build right after it did it properly. We didn't run the build again.
Yeah, so it hasn't actually done that correctly. So I'm just double checking. We are shooting from the build folder. Yep, and we have the build folder. Let's see where it does it. So
I'm deploying again.
But right now we have no build folder, Kazi. So
wait, it's right here.
No, but do the refresh trick. So click that little refresh button.
It's right here. It's inside of Instagram clone.
How can I see it?
Out of sync or? It's right here. Look,
okay.
It is. It's up.
Hey, nice. There you go.
Hey guys, what is up? Come on. Hey,
nice.
We'll be here all day. Thank you, guys. We got you.
That's awesome. It actually looks nicer than what we built first. I like that.
Yep, And it's up, so people can sign up. You guys can use it actually right now.
Yeah, so you can go ahead to that URL and I'll drop that in the comments in YouTube. There we go. Let's check that.
That was fun.
Nice.
All right.
That was dope.
So, what's the deal? We have, Crafton says it works. He's pumped.
Awesome.
All right.
Someone Coding Fountain says fabulous. Nice. Right. So we just deployed the app. Look, everyone's checking out. They say, wow, fantastic, nice. I love seeing everyone's reactions when it comes through to this point. Nice, awesome. Yeah, you guys can feel free to just go on that website and have a play around with it.
Oh, yeah, that's cool to see their reactions. That's actually awesome.
Yeah, and what's amazing, guys, is that is literally, that's completely scalable as well. So that is a case of like, even if 1 million users came onto this website right now, we don't have to worry about scaling. Everything works from the get-go. It's using React. It does it efficiently.
Yeah, people are signing up. They're like, hey, woohoo, hot, Felipe's 96. That is pretty awesome. Hey. Oh, here we go.
Nice. Spam, spam, spam. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing we always forget to block.
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't spam, guys. But okay,
Yeah.
Awesome. So, I mean, everything is covered. We've built this complete app. It's an Instagram clone. Just remember, you guys have Firebase authentication. The database is already hosted. It's real time. There's a two-way sync. It has, I mean, the only few things it doesn't have is like CRUD functionality, but like on Instagram, you don't have that. Like you cannot go you can actually go and delete all your things, right? And edit things. So that would, I guess, if people want a part 2, we could build that in part 2.
Yeah, we can make it so that we could delete our own posts that we pushed. Yeah.
Yeah, delete your posts or edit your posts that you have. So things like that. So that's something, if you guys want, we could do it. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed what we have built in the last 3 to 4 hours. Hopefully you guys have had fun. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this and then giving us all your awesome comments too.
Nice. Did you see somebody added a picture of a cat?
Oh,
Nice.
That is cute. Yeah, I see that.
Awesome.
Nice. That is awesome.
Nice. Yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed that. And like we said, like just drop comments, let us know. Literally, we are happy to build what you guys are interested in. And this was a nice little challenge for us. It was a case of we just thought of it and we just went with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like any ideas, just shout us and we can go for it.
If you make us Instagram video telling us what your idea is, we're probably just going to pick that one person because most likely, honestly, out of everybody who watches, hundreds of people who watch, one person actually sends a video or Instagram message. So it's like we go with that person's plan. So it's like if they're like, hey, you guys build this, we're like, okay, we'll build an Instagram clone. So if you guys reach out to us and you're like, hey, maybe Netflix clone next or a Twitter clone next or whatever, then that's probably what we'll do. But just make sure you guys, take an Instagram video and actually like send it to us.
Yeah. So just shoot an Instagram story, tag me and Kazi in there. And that's the easiest way for us to reach out and see what you guys are thinking, see what you guys are feeling when it comes to this stuff. Also, if you guys enjoyed that, make sure you do check out the course because we have a little sale going on right now, right, Kazi?
Yes, we have a sale going on right now, guys. So you're going to save a lot if you join now because we were doing the sale for 4th of July. But, our team has kind of been lazy and hasn't updated it back to the full price. So the sale is still probably on for today. And then after today, it's going to be back up to a higher price. So go to the link in the description right now and take advantage of the 4th of July sale and join the Profit with JavaScript course where we're going to be building all these projects and teaching you how to make an income with it.
Awesome. Nice.
Awesome. Okay. Love you guys. Take care. And we'll see you in the
next video. Peace, guys. See you later. Awesome.